OCN. Unsportsmanlike conduct on 1620 the zone. Husker Athletics, Creighton, and yes, UNO. Don't miss a moment, they'll give you your fix. They're on every day from 2 until 6. Spend your afternoons with John, Josh, and Nick. John, Josh, and Nick. They'll show you what sports talk really is.
Kenneth writes in, I checked the back seat and all I found was another Jays loss and then a sad face.
You don't want that in the backseat.
You do not want that in the back seat, but you do want us. We start right now.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on 1620 the zone. Husker Athletics, Creighton, and yes, UNO.
Welcome in, everybody, on this Tuesday, November the 25th. The end of the month is almost here.
On a Tuesday?
On a Tuesday, it's Unsportsmanlike Conduct on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, zonetv.live, the 1620 The Zone app, the 1620 The Zone YouTube page, Twitch, Facebook, and more. I think I actually named them all. Josh Peterson, Mike Schaefer, back in the building for the second straight day, and we think it will just be 2 straight days. Hello, Schaefer. How are you?
Annoyed currently.
What's wrong?
I'm getting reports from home that the Blackstone is in trouble at the moment, and obviously I'm here at 52nd.
No, you can't leave. Do you need to leave?
Obviously, it's not like I'm getting back.
Do we want to invite Joey back in and he can do the show with me?
I'll figure it out from my seat here, but
that wasn't a diss on you.
I know, but I'm here.
I wanted a co-host and a producer. I like having a co-host and a producer. Wow, Theo writes, was going to turn it off, then Schaefer appeared on the screen. Look at that. Schaefer's here and Theo wants to stay. Uh-oh. More Blackstone things happening right now?
No, I'm waiting to be informed what I can do to help the situation from here.
Nothing. The answer is nothing.
Have you tried T's and P's?
Have you tried T's and P's? An excellent idea from Nick. What could it be? Let's have to help out the algorithm on YouTube. Guess in the chat what's wrong with Schaefer's Blackstone. I mean, the easy guess as always is it's out of gas.
Was it? So that's a flat top, right?
Yes.
Were people having relations on it like Josh's?
Oh my gosh. Schaefer doesn't understand this reference.
I don't get the reference. No, it's just wind. The wind is threatening to basically
Fight says it's windy. Oh, did it get blown over?
Yeah, that or worse, it could be blown directly into the glass that surrounds the back of my house.
Oh, so I thought it was like it's not working. It might have crashed into our home.
700-mile-an-hour wind that is blowing from northwest.
Oh man, I wonder how ours is doing right now. Hopefully it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're off to a great start. Jim writes that blows.
Nice.
Get it, Schaefer?
How heavy is it?
They're pretty heavy.
Is it cumbersome to move with one person?
The problem is it's on wheels, and even then, if you have the brake thing down, it doesn't, it can still move.
No, I'm saying, would it be easy just to move it to a part of the house that isn't?
Yeah, it would be if I was home, but
he's sitting right here.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Sitting right here next to me. That's what we're doing. All right. Well, welcome in, Shafe. Is it just going to be like this now? You think? Do you want to leave? Do you need to go home?
I'm fine.
Okay.
Stib don't know how I'm supposed to help with the situation when I'm currently sitting here. That's
I don't like those. Those are the marriage contracts, though. Stibbs writes, at least Creighton lost Shafe. There you go. A silver lining for you on this afternoon.
Hey, that's great.
Yeah.
Couple $1,000 bill on your windows, or
Wait, is that what it is? The windows broke?
No, that's severe.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll await news on what happened at the Schaefer household.
I don't know. Again,
this could be terrible.
I'm learning about all of this from my wife, who,
You want me to call John and say, actually, John, we don't want you tomorrow. Shafe needs another fill-in gig. So welcome, everybody. Creighton Falls, again, another tough loss as they lose to Iowa State. Most likely, for anyone who's tuning in right now and wondering, when will Creighton play? Joey and I were doing the math. So do you know how this is set up? This is great. Because I learned, so I can explain it to you. Wins and losses, of course, is like the first tiebreaker. But it's not even a tiebreaker. The tiebreaker.
They want to avoid playing teams in the same conference.
No, it's about point differential.
Yeah.
And so Creighton has now lost their 2 games. I think it's by 25 points.
Yeah.
And so they're probably playing on Thanksgiving is what we're learning right now.
Who else has played in this? Like, has there been like big margins?
San Diego State lost by 40.
Yeah.
So Creighton probably will be playing San Diego State because they're playing Oregon.
They win their next game, right?
Well, they're playing Oregon, and Oregon also lost. So they would need to beat Oregon by like 16, I think it is. And so probably not going to be the case. So most likely, if you're tuning in again and you're wondering, hey, what's going on? When will Creighton play? Most likely, Creighton will be playing on Thanksgiving at 3:30. Do not take what I am saying as the gospel. We still need to get more information on what is going on with Creighton. So that's the early lean, but still many more games to play. We're not going to know officially until like midnight tonight.
We literally won't know until tomorrow. Odson and I are going to have to frantically fix the logs in preparation.
I think you're going to have to stay up late. Husker Enjoyer writes, a handshake meme with you, Shafe. Another Creighton loss, day made. Yeah,
there you go.
It's a tough start to the season for the old Blue Jays. The chat was very sad during the end of that game.
It's
very
just how it goes in college basketball.
That is.
If I recall, they had several losses at this point last year too, right of the ship, and then they were in a tournament.
I think it's just the way it looks this year.
Yeah,
it's the problem.
Yes,
Jim points out they've played people. They have definitely played people.
Yeah, I mean, listening to Connor and to John in the post game show, it doesn't sound like they're just a couple made baskets away here, but you never know. I mean, it's college basketball.
Yeah, indeed. All right, well, let's get to the Grum Down, brought to you by the Rooferys at John Higgins Weather Guard. As it says, Mike Schaefer is here again. Any other thoughts on J.J. McCarthy? We wait.
I feel like I've kind of made my position known on this since roughly before the draft happened.
I do think people know.
I still find it shocking that Michael would preach patience and all of these things. I understand, like, there's a chance he could be a good quarterback in there.
Sure.
They literally gave him the job with no competition because they either thought that he was ready or because in order to get any value out of the fact that he's a rookie on a rookie scale contract, you kind of need to play him early enough to know what he is.
I honestly don't have any issue with either of those things. You got to do it. This isn't college football. There's not quarterback battles,
I understand to a degree, but at the same time, you're coming off of a 14-win season with the most expensive roster in the NFL.
Yeah.
You probably need to know if the guy knows the plays or not.
Yeah, I mean,
and you probably also should have a better backup plan than Carson Wentz and Sam Howell and Max Brosman.
Yeah, I guess those
are all avoidable issues.
There were more thoughts.
Yeah. Well, I thought I expressed those as well yesterday.
Yeah. Let's see. The importance of Nebraska, Iowa. Theo, this is perfect. He says, please talk worst case scenario for the Iowa game. How depressing could it be on Friday and off season? This is great. So we'll do that. We'll go down that depressing road.
Yeah.
Awesome. We'll do that.
Yeah, depressing.
Tiebreakers, and we're not talking Creighton. We're talking Big Ten championship game. I have all of the tiebreakers. We were going to get to this. Well, it was on the sheet for yesterday. It was on the sheet for yesterday. We were, of course, never going to get to it. Let's see, Nick, if we can even get to it today. Speaking of the Iowa game, Steve Sipple joins us. He is on my side. Iowa will shape the vibes going into the offseason. We will discuss. Although, also, Mike says Josh Peterson's weird Grum Down background. It's a great graphic.
I like the Indigo Grum Down.
Thank you, Nick Grimm. National Fun League. Which teams got it? This comes from a podcast that I was listening to yesterday about the NFL, and it made me think, wow, how many fans are happy with their teams right now or think that they could win it all? So we will unpack that later on the show. College football rankings come out tonight. It is the penultimate rankings of the college football playoff. We'll talk about that. I have a college football calendar question for you, Shafe. Again, if we ever get to that.
As the sports schedule allows.
As the Grum allows. And then John Bishop is a famous man. He went viral last night. Everybody is talking about it. I've had many people on many sides ask me, what did he think? What does he think? And I'm like, I don't think he really cares or likes this.
By the way,
he absolutely does not want this.
No. The video that's been floating around social media, did you know that's not even the full clip? You know who has the full clip? We do.
Did we put it out last night?
It's on our Twitter and our YouTube right now.
There you go. The full clip of it. John going crazy. It is a great time to listen to it. I couldn't believe it. Every share, it was like a bigger audience.
Mhm.
It was like, oh, that person is talking about it. Oh, that person is now talking about it. Oh, now that person is talking. And then he ends up on Sports Center. I'm so proud of him. I'm so proud of John, and I'm so happy for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
I wonder how I would have responded if the same thing happened to me.
It's wild because I'm
You would've
not
got an angry
sure.
call.
Is it just largely condensed to the circle call, or is it the entirety of it? Like, are they getting in where he refers to the official only having one eye?
Well, that one didn't even make it nationally.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, that's what's killing me is that the call I heard when I was
horse
driving
crap.
in,
Is it horse crap?
Yeah,
the
horse crap.
It's the focus is on the call where John
It's like
thought
the Statue
he
of
was out
Liberty.
Yeah, he's out of the circle.
Well, did you see that? That's what ESPN did with it. They made a. Here, I have a screenshot of it from Happer. That's what the ESPN on SportsCenter. They put the Statue of Liberty over him last night. So yeah, great times. And look at that, 1620 The Zone.
Yeah, there you go.
Shout out to you, SportsCenter. Thank you for supporting great local
I think
radio.
it's good exposure for
Absolutely.
1620. It's good exposure for John, and you know, if Creighton had won, it would look a lot better.
I know.
I do wish they used our call letters, though.
Oh my gosh, Nick.
What? You know how many the zones there are in the country?
There's only one 1620.
I just wish they had the call letters in there is all.
Is that KRZN or something?
KOZN, Schaefer.
Jeez,
Come on.
wow.
You've only filled in on the show 1,000 times.
You know how many people don't care about call letters? Literally every listener.
Everyone should care about call
I
letters.
love call letters.
Why would they care?
Because it's important to remind people. It's called brand
It's
awareness.
how you identify
How we-
specific stations, Shafe.
You know how they identify, Nick? They go on their radio and they tune it to 1620.
But 1620 is a different station completely in Arizona.
Stibbs brings up a great point. I literally
If
just
they're
sang
in Arizona, do you think they would?
KOZN.
Do you think they would be in their their car trying to listen to you right now?
They could on the 1620 The Zone
Exactly.
KOZN app.
They could.
Nick, can we change the name of the app?
They could find
Uh-huh.
without having to put in the KOZN.
Actually, that's a great question. I'm going
Could
to go
they
to the
get
app.
to your station without ever knowing the call letters? And the answer is yes.
It's important to know.
Unequivocally yes.
It's important, Shafe. It's important to know. It's important for my career. That's why.
Look,
it's
I
important.
I don't want to be,
Mr. Fuddy Duddy.
yeah, but
Well, you are.
I suspect if Connor Happer put out a poll tomorrow,
Yeah. What's the call letters?
not what's the call letters. Do you care about 1620's call letters?
They should.
They
It'd be
should.
like 92% no.
Wow.
Mm.
I don't like what this Blackstone is doing to you today.
Yeah. Don't take out your Blackstone anger on us right now, Schaefer.
Look, this has nothing to do with the Blackstone right
Don't
now.
take it out. 402-951-1620 and give us a call or shoot us a text. Prairie Flower Casino Zone Hotline. Find us there. You can also find us in the Equitable Bank inbox. Josh at 1620thezone.com or Nick at 1620thezone.com or the J-Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Again, I'm seeing all your tweets. I just am unable to respond. I think I'm toast. I think I am done. I'm officially
You've
done.
officially been.
Find me on Blue Sky.
Wow.
I will send you my takes on Blue Sky.
And no one will see you.
There's like 300 people that follow me over there.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I remember when I was in college and got to 300 followers. I was like, this is the life. So many people care about my
You had 300
opinion.
followers in college?
Because I was an intern at KOZN.
Oh,
1620
wow, look at that.
Massage. Not to brag, I worked with Kevin and Michael and I did things for them. I edited clips and I uploaded podcasts.
tips and clips.
So you can find us there. You can also hit us up, of course, on the 1620 The Zone YouTube page. Laszlo writes, what are your call letters for your Blue Sky account? At Josh Tweederson. It should be at Josh Blue Skyerson, but
Change it to Josh Skeeterson.
Skeeterson, I guess I could do that. Sad Husker fan says, I'm not joining Blue Sky. Yep, well, that's where I am now. That's where I give my takes.
Call you Mr. Blue Sky.
And on, hey there,
Can
Mr.
you give out your
Blue
blog spot and your
Sky.
Tumblr?
I used to have a blog. Not going to tell anybody about that. I think I did 4 of them in college. And I
Or
was
they
like,
still exist anywhere?
oh, it's out there.
So I could just search for them.
I don't know.
What about your Geospace?
I
Is that
don't-
what that was called?
I never did a Geo.
GeoCities?
GeoCities.
Let's see.
MySpace?
That was before
I'm going to
me.
search Josh Peterson blog. I mean, my running stuff comes up. I don't know. You would have to go to the deep, dark.
It'd be tough because you have a
The
fairly
dark web?
common name.
Yes. And like the name of it wasn't it wasn't just like Josh Peterson's blog. It was a horrible,
Was it should have
horrible
kept
name.
Shaq?
No, dude, my second post, I think, was about the NBA. It was about the Lakers and how Trevor Ariza.
Should they have kept Shaq over Kobe? Josh Peterson
No,
says yes.
sadly, it wasn't 04. It was 2008 or 9, I think, when I started. I was all in, man. I was pumped I wrote about the Cowboys. I did a running diary of Huskers Sooners.
Wow.
Maybe now if you search, all right, now I want to see if you search Nebraska, Oklahoma, 2008 running diary.
Let's get this thing viral today.
All right, let's see.
Let's make it a back-to-back day for KOZN.
There we go.
Nice.
Sadly, it has not shown up. I don't know. If anybody can find it, good luck to you. I would be stunned by it. But anyway, Satisker fan says, I had an Earthlink page. I deleted it.
I've never even heard of Earthlink.
Alex says, was Josh old enough to have a Zanga? I am not older. I'm like in that age. I didn't have one. A girl I dated had a Zanga, though. It's like just a journal, right?
Yeah.
It was an online. It was another form of blog.
When I was a preteen and teen, there were these websites that weren't marketed as dating websites for teenagers, but they pretty much were.
Ugh.
It was like My Yearbook was one of them, then another one called Tagged. Yeah.
That sounds gross. I don't want to go to any of
At
those
the time,
websites.
it was cool. As an adult, you're right, though. That's gross.
Sounds creepy, Nick. Sounds like Nick wants to hang out with high schoolers. That's
Nope.
what I just heard there. All right. So those are the ways to get in touch with the show.
Okay.
All right. Hopefully we have good news coming for Schaefer's situation.
As long as there's no news, it's good news.
That is true.
If there's news, it's probably bad.
Yeah. By the way, a reminder, 1620, the pregame has you covered on Friday. I think it's going to be me, and I think that I'll be doing it from right here because I still don't have a parking pass. So that'll actually make my morning a whole lot easier. Michael Severe and probably me from 8:30 until 10:30 on 1620 the Zone A and 1019 the Keg. We'll get you ready for
Now,
Nebraska
will you
and
go
Iowa.
into the press box after that and hang out for a while, watch the game, leave, and then get back in time for Big Red Overreaction?
They won't allow me up there, Schaefer.
Wow.
So that's why I'm doing the show from here.
What if you pretended you were John Bishop?
Just, no, it's John, right?
That's an absolutely horse crap call.
There you go.
Just say horse crap a bunch.
I can do a John Bishop impression.
There you go.
Horse crap. So that's what we'll be
I
doing.
guess they do check government IDs.
And the reason that I'm not going to go down to Lincoln is because I also am doing Big Red Overreaction with Connor Happer after the game. Also on 1620 the Zone and 1019 the Cake. Wow, so interesting. It's almost like we should just put everything on 1019 the Cake.
Unbelievable.
That's what I say when I'm told no. So that's what's going on Friday, and the coverage continues on Sunday morning with Severe Reaction from 8 to 10. So, and that's only on the Zone, not on the Keg Zone yet, but maybe in the future sometime. So that's what we got going up this weekend. Speaking of all those things, Schaefer, when we return, let's talk about this game. How did Theo put it? Talk about the darkness of a loss and what it would
Yeah, he
mean.
wanted to like the worst case scenario.
All right, perfect. I'll give that to you
So
next.
I'm not entirely sure I can build one beyond just like they lost. Like what? I guess we're gonna have to work during the break.
Let's
to
workshop
add to
this. Let's
Yeah.
workshop it live
Okay.
on the air. We'll do that when we return.
All
We'll
right.
finish up this hour. We're on for the next 2 hours and 10 minutes, of course, up until 6 o'clock. So stay with us. It is Unsportsmanlike Conduct on this Tuesday before Thanksgiving on 1620 The Zone.
Brunch, early bird.
Josh Peterson, Mike Schaefer, Nick Grimm on this Tuesday. Man, the Creighton fans are on the struggle bus. Pesky Blues writes, does anyone know how to hibernate for the winter? Grizzly bear style? Asking for myself. Dennis emails in, not my grandpa. I've been going to and watching and listening to Creighton basketball since 1961. Could be my grandpa, I guess. They are in need of a point guard, and what is up with that Freeman guy? He needs help. Thanks, Denny. Tough, gonna be a tough year, man. I was way off on them. I know you and I talked about it, not yesterday, but the time before that you filled in, how we had an off-season view of them, and then we both heard from people close to the program that it was like, don't think that way.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, now they've had injuries, and so it just really, it's like, don't think that way anymore.
My May view was like, oh, man, this is going to be like a top 10 team in the country, and we're going to be hearing Final Four talk all year, and they should be easily winning 26 games and all of these things. None of that.
Yeah. Now, Kenneth says, it sucks, but it is what it is. I will still be in my seat every game at the Chai. We're fine. All right, that's good. I know, because I'm not, a Creighton fan. I'm trying to think of how I would view all of this through that lens. I have to imagine that there is a lot of frustration because you just thought, how many years left do they have with Craig McDermott? Maybe 1, maybe 2, and I think maybe 3, right?
I mean,
I'm guessing 2.
I was almost a little surprised that he decided to come back here, to be honest. Like, there had been so much conversation that he might just be done, that he's ready to, not focus on basketball full time and yada, yada, yada. And that's not been the case. He's obviously come back but he's now at sort of the build portion again, where he had a roster with Kalkbrenner and those guys that he kind of enjoyed for a nice duration of time there. And now you're back into having to build it up.
Yeah. And the thing all off season, every time like a ranking would come out, a way too early top 25, I was always like, wow, they are just nationally, there's not an expectation maybe for what I thought it would be. And I was obviously the wrong one, and I mean, anyone who had him in the top 25, at least for the time being, was also wrong too. And, it is a good reminder that bringing in a bunch of dudes who haven't played, together before, it's not always going to work out swimmingly, and I need to remind myself of that sometimes, because I was just looking at the flashy names and like what they have done already. And then it's like, oh, that's right. Over the last handful of years, they had like a cornerstone player in Kalkbrenner. And then they had other guys who were there for multiple years, like a Shireman or a Stephen Ashworth, for example. Yep. And so right now they just don't have that. And it's showing on the court. And then they have injuries.
And if you're going off of the post game and what McDermott had to say, I mean, it sure seemed, even the freshman, Hudson Greer, who I, played 2 games now. And he sounds like a veteran in the post-game interview.
Yeah, just took his red shirt away.
So he's going to be an interesting player to watch over time. But it sounds like they're screaming out for some player leadership. It seems that that's what McDermott wants to come out of this. If nothing else, like, hey, this is happening and we need guys that are stepping up. It can't all come from us. Is sort of what I'm hearing in the context between a lot of those quotes.
Yeah. So interesting to see what happens moving forward. And of course, we will have your coverage of Creighton basketball right here on 1620 The Zone. Again, we are expecting them to play on Thanksgiving. 3:30 is the time that we are expecting them to play. Don't know if that will end up being the case. We will find out. So stay tuned to all the 1620 The Zone socials when that word comes down, which again, I think it will probably be really, really late tonight when that happens. All right, let's talk some Iowa, Nebraska. Now, you said what's a worst case scenario. I can't even imagine what a worst case scenario would be. We can game this out. I do have a serious question that I want to talk about with you in regards to Iowa. But Joel says, worst case scenario, Iowa recovers a TJ Lateef fumble at the 45-yard line with 1:51 to go. After throwing for 45 yards the rest of the game, Gronowski connects with a slow-ass tight end for 30 yards. Iowa kicks a field goal to win 13-10. I was trying to figure out when you asked the question of worst case scenario.
I didn't ask it. I thought that's what the question was that originally...
No, you said, but what would a worst case scenario be?
Well, I thought that's what they said about, like, how dark can it get? Then that's what I thought prompted all of it.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out, is the worst case scenario losing 13-10 again, or would it be losing like 56-14 style like Mike Riley's last? Like, what would be more depressing?
I think it has to go beyond just the on-field whatever happens there thing. Like, there has to be something that changes or affects how you feel about Nebraska football just in general. Because in the context of this just being one game, One, I think we've already hit our fill of people have made a ton about this one game. Like this.
Wow, see, this is where you and I are way different. We are so different on this.
The difference between the 8 and the 7 has just been monumental.
It is.
And I do understand you want that momentum going into the offseason. I get that. I definitely do get that. I think your worst case scenario would be you lose this game, and then Emmett Johnson's like, yeah, I'm not going to play the bowl game. I'm going into the draft. Have a good luck in your future.
Which is very much on the table. Yeah.
No, I'm not saying that it isn't. Like
I'm mentally prepared for him to this is his last game. I am mentally in that zone. Yeah. Are you in that zone, or you think he's going to play in the bowl game?
I think he'll play in the bowl game
and then go to the NFL.
I think he goes to the NFL, but it's largely for the same reason that I think every pitcher that gets drafted should go to Major League Baseball. Any running back that has tread on the tires should get to the NFL as soon as they can.
I'd be stunned if Matt Rule hadn't told him, and he's already alluded to it, but I bet Matt's told him behind the scenes, yeah, you should go to the NFL. Yeah. I think he's going to the NFL.
He's not doing the senior day thing, though.
Yeah, that's true. The interesting thing is last year we saw more players play in bowl games than and this is anecdotally, but it seemed like than any year in the last like 5 or 6. And so maybe you're right. And
what
players
could be part of their NIL agreement
bingo.
On a per game basis.
It explains a lot. Why did Cam Ward? Now there was some.
He played 1/2, right?
But didn't he set a record or hit some sort of yardage?
There was some sort of statistical achievement.
To imagine that there was something in there. Yeah, you got to play X amount of snaps or whatever it is. So maybe you're right. I am mentally preparing for this being his last game though at Nebraska. Yeah, the original prompt was Theo. Please talk worst case scenario for the Iowa game. How depressing could it be on?
I didn't make it up
on a Friday and the off season. So. Okay, Hot Danger says worst case scenario: the entire team gets explosive synchronized poop pants at the exact same time first ball is snapped. Wow, so not only would that affect the first snap, but they're wearing white pants.
That's an absolutely horse crap.
So it'd be nice job, Nick. It'd just be all over. They'd have poopy pants the whole day. It's like the time Bo Pelini had the pee stain on his pants. You remember that famous photo?
It's
Schaefer?
just a shadow.
You know? Oh, I'll find it for you during the commercial.
I don't remember this at all. I feel like I have exercised that for my brain.
As someone who wears khaki shorts, I mean, you got to make sure you're doing the shaking.
When you were reading that email, it made me think of like, I want to say it's one of the last episodes of The League. There's like this note. Wow,
you watched the end of The League?
Yeah, for some reason. It drops off pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I want to say it's like the last episode, and there's this musical note that can be played that just
the brown
note.
Yeah.
Oh,
there's a whole South Park episode about that.
There he is. There's Bo Pelini with pee on his pants. I think that was the Texas game in 2010.
Could have just been water. Who knows?
A pee-filled day for a variety of reasons for Nebraska football. Let's see if there's any more worst-case scenarios before we actually get into the game itself. Nope, there are not. All right.
So you answer your own question. What's the worst-case scenario to you?
I don't know. I mean, getting blown out would be pretty sad. Probably losing again in a groin kick, horrifying way, where everyone's like, you got to do this season and add them to the original rankings. You had to pick
between your losses, and those are your choices.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you lost by a weird, like a middle score of 17, like that would just be, a bummer. I don't know, 10 points. I don't know. I think no matter what happens, it's a pretty horrifying finish.
I think if you get blown out, at least you can sort of just like be done with it earlier in the game. Kind of like the Penn State thing was.
Excellent point. You can check out emotionally. Yeah. It's always nice to check out emotionally.
Because then you're just done. You can get yourself, fired up for South Carolina upstate the next day.
Yeah, definitely.
With the state's winning basketball team. And,
yeah.
And, ride with that, I guess.
Or get excited for Michigan beating Ohio State again for the 5th straight time.
I don't think that's a thing that people think about as much as you do.
Okay. And Michigan fans. Which I'm not.
Are the Michigan fans locked in on Nebraska, Iowa, and they care about the result?
There's a Michigan fan in our audience who comments on our YouTube from time to time.
Michigan Kevin?
No, that guy doesn't listen anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Why you don't do enough hockey?
I think so. Or I think that's actually what it is.
Okay.
Kevin, you don't want me talking hockey. All right. What's the here we go. Hot Danger. Worst case scenario. After the game, Troy Dannon hires Brian Ferentz as our offensive coordinator. Now we're just getting into fantasy land. Negative fantasy land. That would be bad.
I mean, would Brian Ferentz as the offensive line coach? Would people be okay with that?
That would be awesome. People would be very much.
Would they sign up for that?
Yeah, I guess he's saying.
And then he's the run game coordinator, and then we can have the debate as to whether that title means anything or not.
I love these debates. These are great. Maybe Eckler leaves, and he's like, Foley, it's your job again. Maybe that all happens in the post-game press conference.
Wow, now that one I hadn't considered. Mike Eckler leaves to go be the special teams coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings, who needs one.
Oh, Interesting.
And then Foley steps back into the role on a full-time basis.
Mm-hmm. And it starts with the tour of the state and various restaurants.
Yeah, and then all the specialists transfer.
That would be a horrible case scenario.
Yeah.
Why are we so different in our view of the importance of this game?
I
serious
don't want to
question.
say that it isn't important.
Yeah.
I think that we have now reached a level where it has been talked about in terms of its importance. It's gone over. Like at some point, it's still a win between 7 and 8 wins in a year in which you underachieve.
Mm-hmm.
Like that has to be the baseline. That's my baseline look of it. And so
even if 8-4, you view 8-4 as an underachievement
relative to the schedule they played, probably.
Okay.
I mean, you
That's fair.
still leave with no wins against ranked teams. You didn't really beat anybody you weren't supposed to beat.
except for Iowa.
Iowa would be the one. And even then, I don't think this is a good Iowa team, and they have 7 wins right now, right?
Mhm.
So they would finish 7-5.
Yeah.
So you didn't beat anybody.
True freshman starting quarterback, 5.5-point underdog. Like that doesn't.
And so that's the added context of it. You didn't have Dylan Raiola all year, et cetera. But
You overcame like a ass whooping the week before, short week, yada,
which
yada,
they
yada.
literally did against Minnesota. The bigger question is, why is your team getting its ass whooped on the road against teams that are medium, middle of the pack?
Yeah.
Penn State, we could debate on that, but
Yeah.
Minnesota never should have happened.
Yeah.
You have the Michigan USC games where you have opportunities to win those at home.
Yeah.
You're unable to get it
More
done.
frustrating
So
than like anger inducing.
it's not the same. Like last year to me was a out and out underachieving season. Didn't care that they made a bowl game in the sense that they should have won 9 games in the regular season,
5-1.
etc.
Yeah.
This is a different version of underachieving where it feels like you were given a golden opportunity and you didn't make enough of it.
Yeah.
How often are you going to avoid playing all of the good teams in your conference?
It's a rarity. It's very much a rarity.
The best team on your schedule is either USC because they beat Michigan or Michigan because they'll end up with more wins than USC, or they're going to end up with the same
wins. Yeah. I mean, really, yeah, you're right. Those are the 2 best teams, and we would all agree, barring another Michigan upset over Ohio State, and then they would be a playoff team. The best teams are in the healthy middle of the pack, upper crust of the middle of the pack. But
for
still.
sure avoided Ohio State, Indiana,
and
Oregon
by far. So
we could argue whether Illinois is better than Michigan or USC.
Well, they beat USC, but they're in that healthy middle. You avoided Washington, also in the healthy middle. Yeah, and I would even throw in Wisconsin, which now, I mean, it's almost like, wow, thank God they didn't catch them in November because they've suddenly come together a little bit over the last few weeks since they decided to extend Luke Fickell. So I just. You mentioned context, and I think maybe that is where, for me, this is a you can't lose type football game, a must-win type football game for the program. And that's because they keep losing this game.
Sure.
And so another year that goes by, first of all, we haven't mentioned this. A loss means the under. So that's 7-5, and the total was, and like, a lot of people are like, I don't care about gambling. It's just, that's another way to view things through the context of, are you expected to go higher or lower than a number? And they would go under that. So like, I would start there. It would mean 10 losses in 11 years. It would also mean that the full-time coaches, since Bo got fired, have still been unable to beat Kirk Ferentz, which is just such a weird part in this, is that the one time they did, it was among the worst teams of this era.
Yep.
And they went, that got them to 4 wins on the year in a completely lost season in 2022. And so
it was also the highest or most points they've scored in that run, right? Other than the Adrian 2018 game.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have they hit 20 in this series in the last 11?
So probably 2018.
So
I think
2020 they did. They lost
2020.
24-20, I think.
2019, I think that they hit it. I think honestly it was like 18, 19, 20, 21.
Okay,
and then
they
22.
have more.
And then but then
it
since Matt
feels
Rule,
like this is always in the teens. I don't know why.
Last 2 years it's been the exact same score of 13-10.
Yeah.
So like I think that is probably shaping my view of it a little bit. And then I go back to like progress and taking a step forward. And the frustration, I guess, that you just talked about last year with, I would feel that way even more so, even though you're right. 8-4 against this schedule, underachievement. 7-5 feels like a just complete pooping of the bed.
It's the worst case scenario.
Oh
I mean, it is. I get that in terms of what you would have looked at for the season ahead of the year. I just there's a part of me that I want to fast forward. Let's say Nebraska wins this game, they're 8-4, and then we're in December. All of the same issues still exist with this team that you still have right now today.
Yeah, but that's what makes rivalries. You know,
and
it's
that's
like,
that's the thing. Like, I guess I would love to hear from someone who would earnestly tell you that they'll feel differently about Matt Rule if he's able to win that game on Friday.
Wow, that's crazy.
But do you think, like, if they go 8-4,
Yeah,
do you think that makes them more likely to be a better football team in 2026?
I think I would believe in them a little bit more, given that they finally beat Iowa.
Okay.
I mean, that program.
And I understand.
Do I view the Iowa rivalry differently than you? Is that what's going on here?
I don't know. I think I'm just sort of at this kind of inflection point with this team where I think we sort of know what they are. They're not that good.
Yeah.
They took advantage of a bad schedule. They play better at home than they do on the road. They don't have their best player, which I think is Dylan Raiola. I think it's interesting that we're now 2 days into this and we aren't having the Dylan versus TJ conversation
done that this
because
week.
it died out there in Pennsylvania because they clearly couldn't run an offense in the same way against a better. And then it might be the most talented team that they play on all year. So could be unfair to, but it is interesting to me that we're no longer having that conversation.
Sure. Yeah.
We didn't even have it yesterday. It wasn't going to come up until I brought it up today.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a, like, the bigger concern I have is win or lose. Does it feel like Nebraska's stuck right now?
So you don't think a win over Iowa?
I think a win gives you temporary satisfaction.
Yeah. And
then you'll get into December, and it's like, if they don't pull some studs out of the portal, are you going to feel great about Nebraska football in 2026? Well, I don't know if the answer to that is yes.
So then the other follow-up, of course, would be, could a win help them unlock studs in the portal? Like, do they, because 8-4 does sound a lot better than 7-4.
Well, if you can go 8-4, but then you add to it with the winning in the bowl game.
I mean,
I almost think, as dumb as this sounds, like, winning the bowl game is bigger for the portal than beating Iowa.
That's crazy. But you might be right.
It's sort of this idea that, especially if you're playing an SEC team in Nashville or in Tampa, and you get a win against a Missouri team, like, it strikes me as you can sell that more as, like, the momentum you have going forward into 2026 than if you go beat Iowa on Friday and then you lose the bowl game on whatever day. And
that's so stupid because
one of them matters a lot more.
It should.
But I can't say that in the context of the portal that it will.
Yeah.
And I can't even guarantee
You're right. There's something about beating SEC teams.
But I just think it's a pelt that you can hold up with the bowl win, especially 2 years in a row. Not that beating Boston College last year is anything anyone talked about. It's a day after it happened.
Yeah, we literally I never did a post-game show about it on anything.
You know what I mean, though? If they go down to Tampa, they're 8-4 because I think if they win, they're going to Tampa.
Oh my gosh, yeah, they're cutting in line.
Tampa has been begging for Nebraska, and people will be fired up to go down there to watch. I know a fair amount of people that, if it's Tampa or Nashville, they're going to go to the bowl game. But then you go and you get blown out by Missouri or LSU, or I don't know who else could get in. I mean, there's a realistic chance that Texas could be your opponent in Tampa.
People would be interested in that.
Yeah. So it's tough for me because I also don't want to fall in this fallacy of making so much about one game. Because we saw it happen earlier this year a couple times.
But it's a rivalry. Like, this is the season ender against Iowa. And maybe, again, I think I do maybe view this game differently than you do, because I don't think we can say this is the game for Nebraska at the end of every year. That is kind of have they taken the step forward?
I guess
are they at this level?
To me, I don't know that a win saves the season as a whole.
I mean, it doesn't save it, but man, it's a much better taste.
A lot better.
It's a much better
taste. It is a much
mouth.
better polish on a turd. There's no.
I just don't know
what
rivalries are for, if not to alter how you feel about an entire year.
Yeah, that's fair.
And like, you and I never got to grow up with the Nebraska-Oklahoma stuff, so like I don't. And they were always good back in those days too. So I don't know what it's like to have a season where it's like, oh man, that was a bummer of a season, but then they got the win over Oklahoma. Like,
well, it's because we grew up where your focus wasn't on beating any individual team.
But now they are at such a level, and like Trent hits on, he says, I'd feel more confident if they won because it would show they could finally win a game they weren't favored in, which is a massive concern for me. And I absolutely think that, say what, like, I in a way, I almost don't care about the perception of Iowa and how good or bad they are. Vegas views them as close to a touchdown favorite in your house on Black Friday. You haven't beaten them, in 3 years, and you've only beaten them one time in the last 10.
What's the history of the spread in this series? Do you have that?
I don't on right in front of me, but I do know Nebraska's been a favorite.
What shocks me about this is that we have seen better versions of Iowa and worse versions of Nebraska, and this feels like a higher spread.
It is. In 2010, or 2022, John had the number recently. Nebraska was a 10-point dog, which like stunned me. The win that Nebraska had.
Yeah.
Otherwise, and I'm trying to pull it up right now. I think in 21, Nebraska was the favorite. Like
even though they were starting
Logan Smothers.
in
Yeah.
that game.
All right, let's see. Okay. Last year, Iowa was a 3-point favorite, so it was a push. The year before that, Nebraska was a 2.5-point favorite. And obviously, Iowa won that one by 3 points. Okay, the year before, when Nebraska won, Iowa was a 10.5-point favorite. 2021, which is the famed 21-6 slow motion car crash, Nebraska 1.5-point favorite. That was a 3-18 coming into the game. Yeah. Iowa won the division that year, and Nebraska was a favorite. 2020, Iowa was a 12.5-point favorite. Nebraska lost by 6.
Oh, is it 26 to 20? Not
26 to 20,
okay.
Yeah. The year after that, Nebraska lost 27-24. Iowa was a 4-point favorite, so Nebraska covered. 2018, Scott Frost's first year, Iowa was a 7.5-point favorite. Nebraska covered. And then I'll just go to Mike Riley's. I'll give you the Mike Riley era too, because I have those numbers.
Well, so, the 2015 is the only one that matters in that era, because that was they were undefeated. Yes. Nebraska needed a win to cement bowl eligibility. Even though they like 2016 is the bloodbath game. Yeah. 2017 is that nobody cared because everyone was watching UCF versus USF that night.
Great poll. All those games were short favorites. Iowa -5 in 2017, Iowa -2.5 in 2015, Iowa -3 in 2016. So Iowa covered by a lot, and a few in the game.
Here's something interesting that I hadn't thought of. Nebraska hasn't had the same quarterback in this series since Adrian played in 2020. Otherwise, they've had a different quarterback every year. They've had a backup quarterback.
Logan
in 4 of them now.
Casey Thompson. And
3 of them.
And then who was it? Chuba a couple years ago. And then last year was Dylan. And then, wow. Yeah. So backups this year, 23, not in 22 and 20. So 3 times since 2021. Wow, that's pretty interesting. And then also in the 2019 game, they put Luke McCaffrey on the field at the end of the mismanagement.
Did he have a touchdown pass in that game, or did he catch the ball? There was a play with JD Spielman with him in that game, I think.
I liked JD Spielman. Coaches didn't, but I did. So yeah, I'm viewing this game quite important for the next step moving forward. We got some responses that we can get to when we return as we continue to roll on. Steve Sipple will join us in a half hour. I hope that we don't gang up on you in your opinion in this regard. I know he's on my side. I was surprised to see him on my side this morning.
Yeah, and this isn't like I'm not over here saying things are okay if Nebraska loses.
Yeah.
I'm asking if you search deep in your heart, deep in your heart.
I'll go there.
If you're going to feel dramatically different about the season if Nebraska beats Iowa, and you're still going to, not in the immediacy, but when you get a little bit further away from it and you actually look back at this year, it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
It's really going to hurt.
But if they get another one on you and all those terrible media members over there make their bad videos on, I said this on the air. I don't, wins and losses are what they are these days for me. And I'm happy when they win and I'm bummed when they lose. This game, though, gets me every year. Because they're unfunny. They're not funny. Be funny.
Yeah.
I mean, triggers me.
The portion of it that I just can't stomach is that, and it has nothing to do with the Nebraska-Iowa exclusive. It's just an Iowa thing. It's the horseshoe that I don't understand how they luck into these situations all the time.
Even on Saturday against Michigan State.
When they're clearly outmatched, they can convince Oregon to just not cover a tight end by 20 yards. It doesn't – it never makes any sense to me.
They suck everyone into their vortex.
Get everyone to play their brand of awful.
Yeah.
That is more of the annoyance.
It's so impressive. I don't know how they do it.
It's like a Jedi mind trick.
Maybe that's what they're doing. These aren't the droids you're looking for. That's not the pass play you want to run.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. I don't like it, Nick. I don't like it.
I'm fine with it.
Chance writes Chuba. Steve Sipple drop. Do we got a little
Chuba?
Do we got a little Chuba on the wall there, Nick?
I might have got rid of that drop.
What on earth?
He left. I didn't think we would need it anymore ever. This is the most we've talked about Chuba since he left.
Nick, you could talk about
Speaking of Purdy's, I continue to feel like I'm taking victory lap after victory lap with my quarterback takes in the NFL.
But so do I, because they won. Thus, Kyle Shanahan underrated as a head coach. Gosh, we're both feeling good about our takes. There it is.
Chuba.
I never felt like he was overrated.
He's underrated. That's my take.
Yeah.
He's underrated. All right. More to come as we roll on. Mike Schaefer sitting in for John Bishop. We appreciate you being here this week of Thanksgiving, which we are 2 days away from. So much more to come as we continue on 1620 The Zone. But first, Josh Peterson here for Underdog Fantasy. Fast breaks, buzzer beaters, and block parties are back. And however you like to get in on the action, you can do it on Underdog right now in Nebraska. This season, you can make team picks and player picks. Just download the app, sign up, and you'll get $100 in bonus entries when you make your first $5 fantasy entry. Using Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite team will win or if your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like points, rebounds, steals, and more. Plus, with Underdog's quick payouts, you can get your profits fast. So download the app today. Use promo code 1620TheZone to score $100 in bonus entries when you make your first $5 fantasy entry. Player picks, team picks, all on Underdog. Crypto.com predictions powered by Underdog Predict. Trading derivatives involves risk and may not be appropriate for all. For more information, visit nadex.com/rules and underdogfantasy.com/rules. For Crypto.com predictions, the term pick refers to a product traded on CDNA. Must be 19 plus and present in Nebraska. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. Josh and Chafe with you on this Tuesday. Sounds like it'll be John and me tomorrow getting you ready for Thanksgiving. And then
You got to do a full show.
I know.
That's going to be
I
weird.
was kind of hoping for that 3:30 tip tomorrow.
Yeah.
Leave when the sun's still up.
Are we gonna remember how to do a full show tomorrow?
Oh, we'll be just fine, Nick. We got lots to talk about. We have all of our Wednesday staples.
We do.
Plus, we can do predictions tomorrow. I'll pick Michigan to cover against Ohio State. It'll be great.
Will I catch up to you?
I don't know. I'm
Do you
probably
actually
suck
believe in that, or is that just following the fact that you'll keep just doing it until Ohio State does?
I actually picked Ohio State. Well, I picked Michigan to cover last year because it was like 21 points, but I didn't think they would win. But now I think that they
think Ohio State is going to be the Oregon of last year. They will lose immediately in the college football
that
playoff.
sounds awesome to me.
Because, well, yeah, you hate Ohio State. But
I despise them.
beyond that, some of it is they just really haven't caught anybody this year. Like, you played Texas in week 1.
They
And
haven't
it feels like they're the 8th best SEC team.
didn't play Oregon, didn't play Indiana, played,
And so they'll play Indiana in the Big Ten championship game. But we saw Oregon played Penn State and then turn around and they played the eventual national champion and got smoked. But these are the sort of things that I wish that I could there needs to be a way that I can bet that Ohio State will lose specifically in the first round of the college football playoff, but I want to bet it now.
like a prop bet where they don't make it out of the.
I get better odds for it, right?
That's
now.
a great idea.
I think there's like specific, people who I could go to in Vegas that would create that for me.
There definitely would be.
But I don't know that I can do that here.
Yeah, definitely would be.
I
Mentioned.
can send my money to John. He's got nothing to do.
There you
tomorrow.
go. Well, speaking of John, he just forwarded me an email from Mark, who wrote in. I think this might be Doug's. No, maybe it's not Doug's son. It has a similar last name. Anyway, Mark writes, did Schaefer just say the best player on the team is Dylan Raiola? Good grief, lunacy. Your thoughts? Also, everyone's pointing out that you're frozen right now on the on the stream.
That happens.
You think he's better than
frozen.
you think he's better than Emmett Johnson?
Yeah. I mean, I think,
or he's certainly more. You could make an argument more.
yeah, he's
important.
more impactful. Like Emmett would be a tougher 1-to-1 replacement because Nebraska doesn't have anything like that on their roster.
Yeah.
Whereas we saw TJ Lateef stepped in against UCLA. I think he'll do fine against Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Dylan Raiola is their best player. I do.
I think it's Emmett.
That's why I think the conversation from last week about, he could just leave and Nebraska will be fine. And it's like, well, you lose Emmett and you lose Dylan Raiola, you're probably saying goodbye to a bunch of wide receivers here in the offseason too. So if you really want to get into worst case scenario after the Iowa game,
there you go.
Let's replace your whole offense going into a year in which you play all of the good teams.
That's going to be tough, man. 785 texter writes in, if NU loses to Iowa Friday, that will also be the third home loss this year. Program growing the wrong way. That's true. Michigan, USC.
Don't they average 3 home losses a year at this point?
Anyways? Yeah, that's the thing. Like this year, among all of the other stuff that we said that they could have done X, Y, and Z, like it also could have been ones where you start to do, you have this record in the Big Ten Conference and because a loss, right?
They'll have a losing record in the conference.
Again. So it's like,
yeah, there's some interesting contextual stat trends that would end.
Yeah, Steve writes, I won't feel different if we win. I want coaches let go, but I want to win this game, but nothing is forgiven. So he just wants it probably for the sake of, I want to beat Iowa.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is a real thing, and I totally understand and accept that.
Yeah.
I am definitely not trying to diminish the Nebraska-Iowa nature of all of this. It's more, to me, from a big picture standpoint, I think it's going to be tough to put lipstick on this season when you get like a little bit further away from it, even if you beat Iowa, and especially if you don't go win the bowl game and then have a monster portal.
Reverend Tom writes, I think this team sucks, but 8-4 with a backup quarterback for 3 games is big program progress. I
don't think they suck.
Yeah.
I just think they're an average team playing a below average schedule.
Yeah.
Like that's how I feel about this season.
Mm-hmm.
It's partly why nothing that happened on Saturday against Penn State affected me that greatly, I think.
Yeah.
I've kind of just made peace with this is what they are.
Wow, that's sad.
Yeah, that in itself is probably more
there's an interesting thing. I think Tony might kind of hit along those lines too. Maybe we can unpack this a little bit more. Tony, what's going on? You're on the zone.
Hi, guys. Thanks for the call. Shake, you just said something, and it just made my blood boil. I'm an old crotchety Husker fan from the early 70s, so I'm get off my lawn guy. But when you tell me that Raiola leaves and then a bunch of receivers are going to follow. See, that's the problem I have with our team right now. And I can't help the fact that I grew up in Nebraska and I have Nebraska beliefs. And I know it says when you leave the tunnel, I play for Nebraska. This is why I just can't deal with it. They don't play for Nebraska. And I guess in the day and age, I can't blame them because everybody's trying to get their buck because they see everybody else making a buck around them, and why not? But this is why Nebraska football might be in big trouble, because we don't have guys that are going to be willing to put down blood, sweat, and tears. And if Raiola leaves, next man up says, hey, guys, don't worry about it. I got it. And everybody trusts him. This is horrible. I wish there was something we could do about it. I know that you have half that like Raiola, half that like Latif. Man, who I want playing for Nebraska are guys that want to come here, get an education, make some money, but in the process, build a team that you can be proud of and leave something behind. What do they always say? That what rule says you plant trees you're never going to see? I mean, maybe the younger generation needs to get back to thinking about that stuff so we can build something so it lasts for a long time, not it's temporary. I don't know. Maybe I'm just old and crotchety, but that's just what I think.
Thanks for the call, Tony, at 402-951-1620.
Yeah, I understand where he's coming from. It's tough, and I don't have this guy's going to leave and that guy's going to leave. Nobody knows this stuff right now. But I think if you're looking at what college football is right now, and if you're an Isaiah Hunter, or I hate putting names on it.
Yeah, I understand.
If you're one of these wide receivers and you don't know how you feel about who's going to be throwing you the ball, or you don't know what this offense looks like, but you also know that you've got someone offering you a bunch of money to go where a quarterback is established and the offense is already sort of established. But that's what happens in this offseason. Like, it's all tampering, all of it. And so Nebraska's doing it too. It's not just happening to them. They're going to be involved in those conversations with other people. And so the reality to me is that if you have an exodus of players, it's going to be hard for those to just choose to stay here if they can get comparable or more money to go somewhere else and the situation is better.
Yeah.
Like you hope that they want to play for Nebraska because they believe in Nebraska football. But that belief came with money to start with. Like we can't divorce this idea that they chose it because their grandpa watched the team or what. Like that's.
Do you like your job, or do you like that your job pays you money?
Yeah, it's not to say that they're all going to leave for more money or they're all going to have all these opportunities or whatever else. I'm just saying if there's an exodus of players, a few players on offense, it could get really interesting really fast.
Well, and I think part of it too, David says, I agree with Tony, but it's the same, or I agree in part with Tony, but it's the same at every school in today's game. And there was a couple comments.
This is not a Nebraska.
Yeah, Travis says, smells like a Gen Xer, which got me good. And then Alex says, this guy's really coming into his old man yelling at the sky era. I would say this to Tony. Now, those were funny comments. I will be serious for a moment. I think you need to.
Nice of you to be serious.
Yeah.
You're not just going to pick on Tony,
yeah,
who gave us a very nice phone call.
That's what I was going to say. I think you need to make peace with college football today. I think that's what it is. Like, I think there is all of his concerns, I would just put that blanketly over the sport of college football.
Yep.
I think if you can make peace with that, then it's time to get frustrated with Nebraska for their inability to take advantage of the same circumstances that everybody else finds themselves in. But I wouldn't say, I want players to play for Nebraska. Can we find those players? I don't know if those players exist in this era. It is so much more different than it was 10 years ago, let alone when you and I were growing up, let alone when our parents were growing up. It's just an entirely different era of college football. And so if you can make peace with that, then I think you can still be angry at Nebraska. If you can't make peace with that, then I would just say, I don't know what to tell you, man.
This is what the sport is now.
I remember, for the longest time thinking about that with college basketball. Like, man, that's hard. It's hard to be a fan of that sport when everybody leaves after 1 year. And now
you don't get to grow up with players.
Correct. And now college football is that way too. Now, I still love it for a variety of reasons. I love a Saturday on the couch, and that will never go, at least I hope it doesn't ever go away. I think I'm trending in the right direction given the age that I am, and I still adore it. But you're slowing down, so you need to be on the couch more and less physically active. Bingo. But I also will admit that the team I care the most about is not Nebraska. It is the Dallas Cowboys. And so that the lens of not viewing their games through, they need to do this to make me happy and my life better. I don't have that. And I definitely think that is different for me, compared to many listeners in our audience. I think so.
Yeah. And again, it's not like, I promise you, Tony, and anyone else who's on of that mindset, Ja'Cory Barney bleeds for Nebraska. He's getting his ass kicked as one of the smallest players on the field for Nebraska.
Yeah.
But there comes a point in time where you have to make decisions for yourself because they don't want to stop playing football when they're done playing at Nebraska. They want to move on. They want to have the best opportunities they can to make the game and make money as long as they can while playing this game. And so it shouldn't be viewed as, if anybody leaves, it's because they don't care about this place here. It's that they're ultimately choosing things that might affect their future too. And I think we have to be somewhat sympathetic to that.
Got some calls and emails that we can get to when we return. Larry, stay right there. Also, a text coming in from Adam. Shafe just lost all credibility with that statement. People do not like your Dylan Raiola is the best player take.
Whatever.
All right. More responses when we return. If you want to make fun of any Gen Xers, we are happy to listen to those complaints. At least
Go for it.
Down with Gen Xers. Larry Scott, stay right there. Whoa. This is not Larry Scott. It is Larry and Scott. If Larry Scott called, I'd be like, dude, what was up with that rent prices that the Pac-12 had for a long time, you big dumb idiot? Now the conference is dead. Moron. All right, we'll continue next on 1620 The Zone. Josh Peterson, Mike Schaefer, and Nick Grimm. Steve Sipple will join us in about 10 minutes or so. Comments coming in. Larry and Scott, not Larry Scott. We'll get to you in just a moment. David emails in. Everybody needs to calm down. Our quarterback got hurt.
Jets.
He's a legacy. He's played well. He's young. Our freshman went out and showed there is freshman play. We just need to chill. We are what we are right now in the offseason. Could go unbelievably well, too.
Yes, it can.
There you go. Let's get to Larry. Hello, Lair. People call you Lair, Larry.
Yeah, hey, they call me worse.
All right, what's going on, man?
Hey, my concerns are with Rule, not so much his development program for players, but his development program for coaches. He seems to have he wants to build coaches and have a coaching tree. I mean, I think the experiment with Butler and Snow was a disaster. Foley was a disaster. Satterfield was a disaster. And there's really no identity. With Holgerson, I'm wondering if he's got a predetermined identity, what he wants to have with Raiola. But Raiola's skill set and the other quarterbacks are different. So there's no real identity.
Thanks for the call, Larry. What's funny about that is a lot of people thought that he liked calling plays more for TJ Lateef than he did for Dylan Raiola.
Yeah, I mean, do we have any reason as to why that would be true?
Why he would like to call
because he can run more, I guess.
Yeah,
like is the idea there? It opens up more things,
hides the deficiencies of the offensive line, perhaps.
Yeah, I guess I would submit that there's nothing that really occurred in that UCLA game plan that Dylan couldn't have done aside from like the 2 direct called runs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like so,
they have not really leaned on him running the football anywhere near like I
think
thought.
Partly because they can't really open door number 3.
Correct, because if he gets hurt, then they're already kind of toast right now. But then they're like, thank God there's only one game or 2 games left in the season. So
and it's a great opportunity for TJ Lateef to continue to grow, and like he needs moments like Saturday to learn like, hey, that didn't work.
It sucks knowing the final score now. I wish they would have just opened the passing game up more early. And I guess could things have gotten worse? Sure, you lose 50 to 10. But man, they were so afraid to throw early on because they didn't want to get blown out. And then Penn State scored on every drive, and it didn't matter.
And it felt, in some ways, I look back on it, it felt in some ways like the 2006
USC?
6 USC, where it's like, hey, we aren't in this class, and we figured it out pretty quickly, but we're just going to try to get out of town.
But the positive for that game was that the defense held their own against John David Booty and USC.
John David Booty.
They scored 28 points, which ain't that bad, for that team. But Penn State, again, they scored on their first 5 drives. 5 drives.
And some of those, 90 yards, 98 yards. Like they weren't.
Well, the jokes were made right after Nebraska got stopped. Now watch Penn State go 98 yards, and they did in, I think, 5 to 7 plays. It was it was not a very long drive in terms of number of plays. Back to the phones we go. Scott is up next. Hello, Scott. You're on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline.
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
What's up?
One of the things, I've been a Husker fan since the early 70s. And one of the things that Nebraska always had that was an advantage over all of these other schools, in the late 60s, early 70s, Nebraska had 200 kids on scholarship. Not because 200 kids could play football at Nebraska, but they didn't want them playing at Kansas State and Iowa State. And then you bring in Boyd Epley, and Boyd Epley was doing something completely different than everybody else in the country, and kids gravitated towards that. And even the minor things, Nebraska was the first college football program that had video replay boards. Now, that may not seem like a lot of things to the fans, but I bet you there's a few of those kids that cared about that because they thought it was really cool. So Nebraska needs to find its niche. And if I could give one tiny piece of advice to Matt Rule, because he's never coached in the Big Ten before, although he played there, is you need to put a major emphasis on offensive line and defensive line, because I think that is the failure of the last 3 or 4 Nebraska coaches. They thought they could come in and run their shiny little system, but at the end of the day, in October and November in the Big Ten, you must be able to run for 3 yards, and that is it. And that will always be true in the Big Ten. That's all I got.
All right. Thanks for the call.
The point that he makes at the end is really important, but it's hard because they are 100% focused on these things. I mean, when Matt Rule got here, they added, I used to have this stat back when I would need to know it and pull it out of my head more, but they added a ton of defensive linemen immediately because they knew that that was an area where you were going to drop off quickly after Nash Hutmaker and after Ty Robinson. Like, the problem is that you needed Riley Van Poppel to be a much better version of himself than he has been. You needed Keanu Davis to go from freshman everyone's excited about to legitimate guy as a sophomore. You needed Cam. So you haven't gotten the development out of those younger defensive lines. So that's one side of the ball.
Yep.
On the other, with your offensive line, they had a class in 23 where I don't know how many of those guys are going to end up, like Justin Evans will be a starter, but I don't know if Brock Knutson and Sam Sledge and some of those other ones will be. You have a class in 24 where it's predominantly interior offensive linemen. So, you're going to maybe get one of those guys steps in for, or two of those guys step in for Spindler and Lutovsky, but only two is really going to play. So if you have 4 guards that come out of that because Grant Bricks ends up sliding inside and he's not a tackle, like the issue isn't just the offensive line. They haven't gotten Big Ten caliber tackles since before they were in the Big Ten. I mean, think about how many tackles have played at Nebraska that if they do play in the NFL, they're sliding in at guard. They're sliding into the interior, whether it's Matt Farniok or Brendan Hymus or Nick Gates or Jeremiah Searles or Zach Sterup or whoever else. Like, you can go all the way through all of this, and they don't get legitimate tackles. And so that's why Claude Puma is a huge, huge piece of their 26 class, because he is a tackle and like a actual tackle. Like, you're hoping he's your cornerstone, whether it's on the left or the right side, that you could just build around that guy for a while.
We got to go to break, but in a way, what you just said there is, it's like a great story to tell of they have been unable to develop like they thought that they could come in.
Yeah, and it's not that they haven't put the like, they are emphasizing the hell out of getting offensive linemen.
Haven't done a good
job. They
job.
got money whipped in the portal last year. They missed on that's how they got Elijah Pritchett.
Yeah.
It wasn't the number one name on their sheet.
Of course it wasn't.
They missed on everyone else because they didn't have the money that they needed to be able to pay for it.
Talk to Steve Sipple when we return here on 1620 The Zone. But first, Josh Peterson for Underdog Fantasy and UnderdogFantasy.com. Association rolling on a month and a half into the season. And right now, you download the app, you put in our promo code 1620 The Zone. You can score $100 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. It's awesome. You find a team, you find a player, maybe you like, maybe you dislike. You go higher or lower. All sorts of stats available. Points, rebounds, steals. I mention all the time, but the fantasy point option is in there as well. And if you get your picks right, you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. So find a game in the NBA that you like tonight, maybe tomorrow, whatever it is. Just again, use that promo code 1620 The Zone, and you can score $100 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. Underdog, make picks, win money. Must be 19 plus and present in Nebraska. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
would be nice to have a boat. Throw. It would be nice to have a boat. Throw. It would be nice to have a boat. Throw. It would be nice to have a boat. Throw. It would be nice to have a boat. Throw. It would be nice to have a boat. Throw. It would be nice to have a boat. Throw. It would be nice to have a boat. Throw. When you're gone. Sipple the snowflake is one old triggered soul with reading glasses sitting on his nose and takes that really blow. Sipple the snowflake deserves a mouthpiece to the face. He says LeBron's the GOAT and Steph will choke. Then he runs to his safe space. Hey, we gotta be careful here, he tells us when we speak. But when 10 games air in a day, he thinks that's too many. Oh, Sipple the snowflake says words like mature. He's a blogger now and an honor too, and also really old.
Sipple, join us in just a moment. I want to read a couple more responses. First of all, KD writes, once you accept that players and coaches don't actually care about the fans' feelings and shouldn't, and that sports have no bearing on your actual life, watching sports is a lot more enjoyable. Oh, what a positive way to view sports. Turner, I think going after you because I am picking Iowa to beat Nebraska on Friday, Turner, so don't yell at me. Turner writes, Iowa beats you dweebs year over year because they play disciplined and fundamental football. They know their identity and have an actual game plan come Black Friday. Until you realize that, you'll continue to throw out these lazy-ass takes.
I don't know there's anything lazier than telling me that Iowa plays disciplined football, and the reason that they keep winning at the last second is because they play disciplined football. Like, I don't accept that at all. Like, that's not – discipline has nothing to do with Vincent Shavers touching that ball. Like, that's just a guy making a bad mistake.
Mm-hmm.
That's not discipline. That's just making a literal mistake. Nebraska not being able to tackle despite having 700 attempts on Caleb Johnson.
Yikes.
Was that discipline?
No.
Was Iowa was Riley Moss and Cooper DeJean undisciplined when Trey Palmer was racing down the field? Like, was Nebraska more disciplined in 2022? It's like up there with the physicality thing. Like, the way that we talk about Iowa is idiotic sometimes.
And with that, we welcome in Steve Sipple of Husker Online, huskeronline.com. Hello, Sipple.
With idiotic. That's really good, Josh.
What? That was Schaefer that said that.
I know. Oh my God, my the awning blew right off my patio. Jeez. All right.
Patios are
for patios.
Yeah, I was going to say patios are a
attack.
sore subject, Sipple. We got to move on as fast as possible. How are you today? 2 days before Thanksgiving. Are you doing good?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. How are you guys doing?
Well, it's been here's a text we just got, Sip, and I think this will kind of let you in on the tenor of the show so far. This is Jay Todd. I think there will be a mass exodus this offseason. Combined with that, with a small recruiting class, could put them in a worse spot. I think Schaefer and I have been on the air for 90 minutes. I think I'm more depressed about Nebraska football now than I was when we started the show.
I don't know where the mass exodus talk is coming. I haven't heard anything to suggest that at all. You never know with these players, but there's always a lot of talk around here.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know that I would worry about something like that right now. You know, you can speculate yourself into a major depression around here. So I just try to avoid it.
Hey, Josh and I have had kind of conversations on air, off the air about Dana Holgorsen. How would you assess sort of the year that he's had? He's had the 4 games last year. He's now through 11 regular season games this year. Obviously, circumstances with his quarterback are a little unique now with TJ Lateef instead of Dylan Raiola. But factoring in that, how do you feel like this year has gone for Dana Holgorsen? And do you think that he has kind of met the level Nebraska's needed for success?
No, I don't. Not
just, I would say, uninspiring. Not probably what we felt it would be. I thought we thought it'd be a significant upgrade. I don't know if you could say that. There doesn't seem to be a lot of imagination. Not that that's, I don't know. I hate doing this because everybody's got a little different idea in their mind's eye what they think offense should look like. It hasn't been terrible. It hasn't been great. It's been probably better than Satterfield, but it looks a lot like Satterfield's offense. So it looks like he pared it down a little bit against Penn State. It's been okay, just okay. I think that's what I'd sum it up, Mike. Just okay.
Why do you think that is simple? Because I think you look at the skill players in particular. I think this is Nebraska's best collective running back, wide receiver, tight end room. At least the high end guys in X amount of. I mean, it's been a while since they had guys this good, in my opinion, across the board. Maybe not the depth, of course, at running back, but I think 3 really good receivers. I think a good tight end and the best running back since Amir Abdullah. For 9 games they had Dylan Raiola. I know the offensive line has had issues, but they also have helped pave the way for a 1,400-yard back, whatever he finishes with. So, why that seems like a recipe for better. And so I guess maybe the answer is staring us in the face, and it is just Holgorsen. But something isn't right with that side of the ball, and I can't figure out why, given how good I think a lot of the guys are.
Yeah, I mean, now listen. We do this, and I'm sure it's sort of annoying to our listeners. I mean, how good are the players you're talking about? I was just talking to a guy who's hooked into the NFL agent world. Emmett's probably a day 3 pick. Okay.
Which is still the best running back they've had in a decade.
Okay, well, who else on offense is going to get picked?
Well, no, you don't think like Isaiah Hunter, Ja'Cory Barney, and Dane Key isn't the best set of receivers they've had in, I don't know, since J.D. Spielman and Stanley Morgan were running around together?
So 7 years.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
That's close to a decade. I'm not saying draft stuff. I'm just saying good for Nebraska.
Okay. Well, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
They're pretty good. They haven't I think the best way to put it is they just haven't put it all together.
Yeah.
They just have never, it just doesn't seem like it's ever, I'm trying to think back on these games, other than the Akron-Houston Christian affairs. You just haven't seen a game where they've put it all together. It's always a little bit of something, for a while it was the sack issue. Mm-hmm. It's pretty clear that they're not always getting open downfield. The running game, Emmett has been good, but it's not like he's a dominant running back. He's good. He's definitely good, but you can't just put it all on Emmett. He's not that kind of running back. So I don't want to say it's bad talent, but they haven't put it all together, and it's not outstanding talent. And I guess the best I would do with that whole thing is to say we're kind of splitting hairs. I think. I mean, they're pretty comparable to what they've had, probably a little better.
If I were to tell you that I think Nebraska needs to go throw money around in the linebacker room in the portal, which is not what you normally like, if you're going on the NFL model, you're normally not spending a bunch of money on linebackers. But how would you feel about that? Because I look at this team, I look at that game like Penn State, I looked at UCLA and thought the same thing. Nebraska seems really unathletic in the middle of the field on defense to me. And I don't know how you solve that unless you go buy it in the portal.
Yeah, you raised that question last week, and I looked at it a little closer. They're not. It's not like they're terrible athletically. Dawson Merritt is going to be a good one.
Yeah, I agree.
Shavers is athletic. Bauer got exposed a little bit probably against Penn State. His coverage is, he's not a cover guy. They need some more. I think it would Nebraska be better served to do what John Butler said today. He was he said something that I talk about all the time, and that is the need. Your linebackers, Mike, will look better if you have a couple 330-pounders up front or you can't move. That you just can't move them when they eat up blocks. That's that's where I lean in this conversation, Mike. I would say your linebackers will look better if the guy you're playing over the center isn't getting blown off the ball to the extent where his back is to the play, which I've seen more than a few times this year. That's how you make your linebackers look better. So I would concentrate on, and I mean, you guys are old enough to remember like a guy like Vincent Valentine. That's what I'm talking. I'm not talking about 305. I'm not talking about 310. Neither is Butler, by the way. He said 320, 330.
But as well as I do, Steve, that they chose not to go after those players in the portal last year. I mean, they had guys that were expected to come in for visits that were nose guards, and then they canceled all those visits. So is it they bet wrong on their internal development, or they bet wrong in a conference where you need large human beings?
Yeah, I think they did. I do. I think there's a lot of evidence that suggests that they don't have those big-bodied players in the middle, and you really see it in games like Saturday. And you really do. I mean, I've been pining for it for months. I mean, big dudes. Like 295 is big to me and you, but that's not big in that world they're in. If 305 is okay, I'm talking Vincent. I just say Vincent because he's the guy who comes to mind. You haven't seen a lot of that around here.
You mean like Damian Daniels, that kind of thing?
Yeah. You like Daniels. I like that kind of player, even probably a little bigger, though. I mean, remember, what year was he? What year was his
21 was his big season.
Yeah. So, yeah, guys like that. I mean what I said. I think it's a good discussion, Mike. I think your linebackers look a lot better if guys aren't climbing up on them all the time. I have to look at it a little closer, but I'd go get big. You can't have enough of them.
Steve Sipple joining us, HuskerOnline.com on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. We spent some time on today's show, Sip, talking about the importance of the game on Friday. You wrote a column about that earlier today. Very much seems you and I in particular are on the same wavelength. Like I don't think it can be kind of understated or overstated. I always use the term wrong. I think it'd be overstated, like how massive this game is for vibes, for what it means. And maybe I'm just viewing Iowa in a different way from some people, but like beating that team, like they got to prove that they can beat this team, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, and why do we say that? Because
they haven't.
I think right. I mean, there's that whole streak thing that we talk about a lot. I look at it like this: we do, I mean, because of the media corps is so big, we get a fair amount of time with the head coach and the coordinators, etc. Troy Dannon goes on the radio, and there's a lot of assurances that things are going well. That we get a lot of verbal assurances, which is fine, and I appreciate it. But Saturdays and Fridays on occasion are much more important to the fans, I think, to see it, to see the progress. Beating Iowa not a great team, but they've had Nebraska's number and they're good. They are a top 15 defense across the board and pretty legit that way. If you beat Iowa, and it's as simple as being able to point to the fact that they played in the Pinstripe Bowl last year to end an 8-year bowl drought, and then if you beat Iowa, you play in Tampa. Now you can say that's progress. It's pretty discernible, tangible, perceptible progress, and that's where I come from on it. You've done something other than talk to assure your fan base. Okay, we're moving this forward. It doesn't mean they're not moving forward if they lose. It's harder to buy. It'd be harder it'd be harder for Matt to sell that progress if they come up short again.
What do you think Friday looks like, sounds like, feels like in the stadium, where you're going to get a fair amount of Iowa fans who come over for the game? Nebraska coming off of a 27-point loss to a Penn State team that has yet to reach bowl eligibility, and sort of an uneven season overall. And the last home game you had was maybe the best stadium atmosphere in a long time.
God, what will it be like? I'd say a lot of old dudes sitting with their arms crossed. Kind of pissed off.
So the basement at the events you speak at, is that what you're saying?
Oh, I don't think I'd care. Yeah. Yes, some of that. I think that that's a good question. I don't know. It'll be cold. I don't think Iowa fans are all that charged up right now. You know,
Well, they will be though.
Yeah, I was on an Iowa radio show today, and they weren't just real fired up about the win against Michigan State. So I don't know. I think people are sort of on edge here. But just going back to the start of this conversation, it struck me. It felt like when Josh mentioned the tenor of the show today. Seems like people are a little on edge.
Oh yeah.
Any chance this is a lax Black Friday to involve Kirk Ferentz?
Oh.
Yeah, there's a chance. I mean, Mike, and you know how this goes as a reporter.
Sure.
I hear mixed reports on that. A few weeks ago, I don't mind saying his name because he's a friend and he does radio over there, Ken Miller on KXNO, and I've known Ken for we've been doing radio shows for 30 years. I trust him, and he felt like Ferentz would be back. And then today I heard from someone else who's wondering now. But nobody. It's the feeling I get is that nobody really knows over there.
I think the only one that would know would be him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kind of like the Penn State coaching search. Even the people that are there on the boots on the ground types don't have a great feel for it. And I think I would say that about Ferentz. So hard to read that.
It'd be interesting to they started 6-2, then they lost a couple of games in a row, and so now they're 7 and then they get a win, so now they're 7-4. Looking at next year's schedule, does it feel like one where they could break through? Like there's a very real world where they beat Oregon and beat USC. They were up in those games at times, and they're playing for a playoff spot right now, you know? And instead, does he
So glad we don't live in that world.
Basically what I'm asking is, does he leave this season with a bad taste in his mouth and want a chance to try to break through next year?
That might be that.
5 home games in conference next year, so you only have to travel 4 times in league play.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of taste in the mouth would there be if they beat Nebraska and then win in Tampa.
They feel pretty good.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't say that I have a great feel for that dynamic. The only things I can say with confidence is I watch Iowa and I watch him, and he's still very, what's the word that Baz Ned always used to use? Virile. He seems virile. He seems very virile. He doesn't look like he's aging poorly. He looks like he's fine. The age thing doesn't seem to be a big deal. They are. They do what they do and they do it well. I don't know. It almost seems like a coin flip to me.
Yeah.
That doesn't help at all. But that I've tried to gain some insight on it and failed. All people are doing is trying to read tea leaves over there.
By the way, I was wrong. They have 5 road games in conference next year and 4 home games, including Nebraska, Ohio State, and Wisconsin.
I might make the decision.
All coming into Iowa State. You think Nebraska will win, or you think they're going to lose on Friday?
I can't pick them to win. I just can't. I'm not going to. Things I've seen. I would just put it this way. What I saw against Penn State, coupled with the sort of things I hear, I don't see it. I don't think they're together enough to get this done. I think they can push them. I think they can push them into the fourth quarter, but you know what I always say about closing the deal in this league against a team like Iowa is really hard. I know people hate to hear us, give this sort of grudging respect to Iowa, but they're hard to close out. You got to give them that. They're hard to close out.
Mm-hmm.
So Nashville or Vegas for you? What's your preference?
Vegas, 100%. Now, I think for the fan, if I was just a fan and not a working media member, I think Nashville would be the place you'd want to go with Broadway and centralized locations to do your thing on the nightlife circuit. Vegas, not exactly college atmosphere, but I like.
But you'll have a good time.
I love Vegas. I love it, and I want to go back, so I'm hoping for Vegas.
All right, we'll hope for Vegas right along
Nebraska, Washington, and Vegas.
with you. Oh
with
my
Steve
gosh,
Sipple.
that sounds terrible. They're going to play Washington next season. I don't want to see that garbage.
I know, but that's what's on the.
Stupid.
That's a possibility.
Really
Is
dumb.
that a possibility?
Oh, it's very much
You
in
would
play.
A league. You play a league member.
Yeah, because they
They're
still
required to play the Pac-12 teams
Yeah.
that left the Pac-12, so you could maybe get
not required.
Arizona.
They're able to play them, or or yes, you're right. That left the Pac-12. Utah is also on the board,
Yeah.
which gosh, they'll put you in a meat locker. That sounds terrible.
I think Utah would be in the playoff though, right?
They're right on the
Yeah.
edge. They're right on the edge right now. Well, Sip, enjoy the game. I hope that you have a very happy Thanksgiving on Thursday and that you eat yourself into a stupor and that you enjoy all of the football that you watch and you write a great column.
God, it's an enjoyable conversation, and I do appreciate it. I do. It was good. I like it. It helps me. I appreciate that.
All right. Bye, Sipple. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Bye. Bye.
See you later. That's Steve Sipple joining us here on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone Hotline. Wow. Thanksgiving. Vegas.
Just a couple days away.
I can't believe it. My favorite holiday. It's 1 month till Christmas. Wow. I just realized it's the 25th. Isn't
Look
that
at that.
amazing?
You are mathing it up.
I am doing what I can.
He
Wow.
loves
30
counting
days,
down.
they say.
Yeah, it is 30, and I do love counting down. Yeah, it's a Thursday this year. Christmas is
How you feel about a Thursday Christmas?
almost the best. Almost the best. I
Well,
mean,
it's not like
Friday-
you'd be working the day after, anyways, or
Correct.
the week after.
Correct. You just
or
nailed
really,
it.
you know.
We'll go to work on the 23rd. I will return on the 2nd for a 1-day work week.
Wow.
Going to be great.
You're not taking that day off. You're going to show up and work the second.
Yeah, because everybody else will be back. That seems like a jerk move. You know, hey, John, welcome back. I'm gone.
You could just do a best of show to start the year.
We're doing lots of best of shows at the end of the
That's what we
year.
do.
Yeah. So you kind of know what we're doing, Schaefer, but we're going to just do it all the other days. So that's still a month away. Plenty of more radio shows to come in the time being. All right. It's been kind of a Nebraska is in a terrible place and nothing matters show. We're going to pick up.
I don't know if it's been that.
I think it has. You're making me more depressed about the team.
I don't want to make anyone depressed.
Part of it, too, off the air, you've had a couple of opinions and things, and it's just like, oh, my gosh, everything's terrible.
Now people want those on there.
No, I mean, you hit on one of them. You asked a question about Holgerson. Why isn't the offense progressed? Like, that's one of them. You know, we talked a little bit about the, players potentially leaving earlier. It's just, I just think you wanted to see more this year.
I think you wanted to come out of this year
down.
definitively feeling great about Nebraska football, and I don't know if that's going to be the case unless you go win the next two games and you punctuate with the bowl game, and then you feel great about.
Then everything changes.
Yeah, I mean, if you can go and do that, that is still out there. I will say that, but I'm not sure that that's coming. So we'll see.
Though you'd like them to win on Friday.
I do. I just think it's a good spot for them. I think the emotion of being at home, senior day. I don't think Iowa can just pull away from them. I don't even know that Iowa can just play straight keep away from them either.
Can they play wait for Nebraska to screw up?
Some of it is I think Nebraska will score on Iowa with more ease than people around here are expecting. I don't think this is that good of an Iowa defense.
Yeah, but
they
always
have
say
brought
that.
much. No, they have had last year's defense was legit. And the year before, their defense was legit.
That's true. You're
And
right.
so, and Nebraska was bringing in Chubba Purdy, and last year they had their offense was a struggle down the stretch, and worse special teams. So there's just things about this year that I feel better as they take on Iowa. Now they have to go and do it, and TJ Lateef has to play a much better version of football. I think that he will. And some of it for me comes down to, can Dana dial some things up? Like, you can win, and Severe was on yesterday. Like, you can win
Michael
against this Iowa team. Are they willing to do that? Can they get to that offensively on Friday? So, and I think the answer for me is yes. I think Emmett can have a good game. I think TJ can have a good game. I think they can put up enough points. And I don't know that their defense is just going to be a sieve. I think Penn State got them in a way that I don't think Iowa can.
Now, just to give you a couple stats, I'm going to give you regular stats and fancy stats because I know sometimes you're not always a fan of the fancy stats.
You can give me all the stats.
That's what I'm going to do. I got scoring defense for you. They are 9th in the country in points per game allowed. If you look at K Ford's defensive ratings, he has them at 7th. If you look at Brian Fremo, he has them at 7th. If you look at the SP Plus, Bill Connolly has their defense at 7th. So I disagree. I think their defense is awesome. Maybe it's not as good as it's been because their defense has been like number 1.
Yeah.
But they're still top 10
Right.
kick ass, and against this team.
And they obviously they held down Indiana. I think the elements held down Oregon as much as anything else in that game.
It's gonna be chilly.
So it's a again, I looked at that team and I look at how Ethan Kaliakmanis threw all over them.
But that was so long ago now.
I understand, but
it's like 2 months.
Like it's not like they're generating huge sack numbers. It's not like
but that was 2 months ago.
No, I get it.
You know,
I totally get it. I just don't accept that they have found this formula and that they're just going to bottle up and boa constrictor Nebraska. I don't think that's going to happen.
Kenneth writes, Utah not making the playoff. Put a pin in that. We'll talk some CFP when we return. Hot Danger says the rest of the show should be a Nebraska ball appreciation roundtable.
Good luck getting you on board.
Can it be a round table with 2 people?
Excellent question. You're a part of it.
This is a relatively rounded edge table.
That's true. Also, I got a couple takes on Nebraska basketball.
Oh, look at that.
I watched them on Friday.
Yeah.
After I finished a movie. I watched the last half of the game.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, they
How often did you have to go to Huskers.com to figure out who was who?
On the team?
Yeah, you know all the players?
Okay, that's a mean question. I don't know the numbers of players on the football team still. I'm getting old. 18-year-old me.
I will say this.
I don't like getting older in terms of numbers and players.
This era of football where they have different numbers from the spring to the fall.
Don't like it.
Infuriating.
Dude, you ask me like 1999 roster numbers. I do a better job with that than today. I swear to God.
Honestly, it bugs me that a player on the offense and the defense can have the same number.
Well, that's college football.
I know.
Over
That just bothers me.
That's fine to be triggered, Nick. It's okay.
That triggers me.
There you go. That's triggering Nick.
There's so many numbers. Just have a different one.
I can give you
today and triggering Nick.
Nebraska ball. That atmosphere was
Shared
awesome.
numbers.
It looked like a legitimate NCAA tournament atmosphere.
With Nebraska, Kansas State.
Yeah, that was sweet.
Well, the game came down to the wire. You have an amazing player in Haggerty for Kansas State.
The whole clock situation, I'm still like
baffling.
Can you imagine if they would have lost because of that? You know, that would have been really bad. All right, there you go. Nebraska ball talk. When we return, college football playoff, some questions, some comments about
Were those all your takes, by the way?
No, I mean I have a few more, but we're up against it right now.
Yeah,
so
you can tell them to me in the studio.
All right, perfect. I'll do that when we return. It is Unsportsmanlike Iconic. Josh Peterson, Mike Schaefer with you. John will be back, we think, tomorrow because it seems like Creighton's going to play on Thanksgiving. Wow. More to come. 16:20 The Zone. Josh Peterson, Mike Schaefer, Nick Grimm, Alex and Lincoln. Is Josh pro full mast guy? I don't know. I don't know. Have all the details. I didn't read or listen to a single interview that man did. The guy at the Pentagon, full mast. You don't know about this man? He's asking if I'm pro him. I don't have all the deets.
I don't know any.
Which Pentagon?
Nice, Nick. Good reference. Pedro writes, I think I'm anti. I'll say I'm anti full mast guy. Is that okay?
Yeah, you can be whatever you want. I don't know.
I was looking for you for help. Okay, so you didn't check it.
Oh, full mast. I was hearing full mask and then thinking Pentagon is in.
No. Full mast guy. The guy who was doing the interview.
I'm fine.
Okay, I'm pro him. Never mind. Pedro writes, hi, guys. Josh, have you talked about how Dana... Oh, wait, this would get us into sad territory again. Pedro, I'm sorry. We're not going to read the rest of your text.
But now I want to know what it was.
All right, fine. Have you talked about how Dana said he's only been involved in a couple of rivalry games? How long was he a head coach? That is hard to believe, but it is true. Nebraska always has a rivalry game. Oklahoma, Missouri, Colorado, and now Iowa. Plus, they are always heated games. So when he was at West Virginia, they were not playing Pitt anymore. Yep. So the backyard brawl was gone. I was
going to say that would be their big rival, and they didn't play him every year.
And then when he moved to Houston, they were still in the Mountain West. What conference were they in?
Were they American?
That's what it was. They wouldn't have had any of the old school rivalries there anymore.
Who's Houston's rival?
It's probably old Southwest teams.
Was Houston in the Southwest Conference?
Way back in the day, weren't they? Am I remembering wrong?
I don't know. There's so many schools
they were
in Texas, they can't all have
They were in the Southwest before that thing died, and then they were in CUSA. Okay, they're rivalries.
CUSA. I've never heard anyone call it that.
Conference USA?
Yeah,
CUSA?
that's what I would call it.
Yeah. Baylor, so they weren't playing them when he was there. Rice.
They would have played Rice.
All right, cool.
Though Rice was in Conference USA while they were in the American. So
so maybe
they scheduled that.
SMU, they would have been playing SMU, and then Texas Tech. Yeah, so wow, maybe Dana. I don't want to say he wasn't lying. He probably just wasn't lying.
But I mean, he was
things are different now.
At Oklahoma State. They would have played Oklahoma.
That's true, but as a head coach,
he hasn't been around.
Yeah, I guess then, yeah. All right, so there you go. This is definitely a couple of hated teams. They don't like each other. All right, let's talk a little college football playoff. So, Texas
TFP.
Now, I in a way, I don't even want to explore the topic that I'm about to throw your way because it is mainly because I'm
in a way I don't want to do this.
No, like I do, but
I wrote it down and I put it on the.
I actually
did.
Down. This is all in my brain. This
yeah, but you put it in the Grum down.
I did put that in.
You wrote it down.
So the reason I don't want to ask you about this is because I'm going to ask you what happens if something happens this weekend. And so
we don't know.
Correct.
Because we don't know all the results.
But there's one of our great listeners, Josh D'Lo. He has been throwing out the prompt recently of what happens if Texas beats Texas A&M. Should they get into the playoff? And of course, the quick answer for a lot of people is no, they shouldn't. They have 3 losses. They're 9-3. But then his quick retort, which I think is a tremendous argument, is, wait, weren't you the guy who said Nebraska shouldn't cancel the Tennessee series and that the committee should award or reward tough non-conference scheduling? So in a way, if you are saying 9-3 Texas shouldn't make the playoff, then you're saying they should have scheduled Akron instead of Ohio State, because then 10-2 Texas unequivocally would make it because they'd have wins over Texas A&M and Oklahoma, which I put myself into a bit of a pretzel there. And so I'm asking you, should Texas be, and again, that's like, now I'm fast forwarding through the final week, but I wonder how you view them mixed in with the rest of the college football playoff contenders right now.
I mean, I want them to have nothing to do with the college football playoff in the sense that they have a nice win against Oklahoma. I guess if they go beat A&M, you'd have 2 wins against college football playoff teams.
Yeah, 2 top 10 wins.
But you still have the Florida loss.
Bad.
And frankly,
and they got their asses whooped by Georgia.
In the Georgia and Ohio State. I know the Ohio State game is the score that it was.
I watched it.
It was an uncompetitive game.
They got dominated.
So, like, you effectively have 2 uncompetitive losses and a loss to a team that you shouldn't have lost to.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to square that up.
2 awesome wins.
You do have some good wins. So then you just have to line that up against how everything else finishes above it.
Yeah.
But because it's the SEC and Texas, we know that will be rewarded with greater weight.
See, but what I'm asking you though is, like, should it? Because if you are someone who thinks there should be good non-conference games, in a way, you and I should also be arguing.
We are diametrically opposed on this.
We are. Okay, you don't
because
like
I'm in the like just schedule like Kansas State model.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, and we've had but my viewpoint of it comes from like the program viewpoint of it. Yours comes from
college football enjoyer.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I sympathize with that, but I also I don't understand why a team would put themselves in that situation anymore.
Would you like it if the Big Ten mandates it like the SEC is about to? So the SEC moving forward is going to have 9 conference games, and they are mandating.
I want all the conferences to play the same amount of conference games.
Well, then that's what's about to happen,
right?
Next year the SEC is going to play
to get here.
Sure, but then that what's fun about it is then I think I'm immediately going to put my pressure on the Big Ten and say you need to do what the ACC and SEC are doing. They are demanding their schools play 10 or 10 power games. And so I hope Nebraska.
And so then I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I want more uniformity because I'm tired of having subjective nature determine who these teams are.
Well, sadly, that's
in the and I understand that's also part of it, but it's gotten so stupid, and we've just made stuff up to where we left a team off that didn't lose a game because a quarterback got hurt, and we will never see that again.
See now, so you're getting mad at the sins of the past for the present?
No, what I'm saying is that I've always wanted the uniformity in terms of how things are scheduled or what this looks like, because I find it stupid to hold it against the Big Ten that you have these losses or you have whatever this is, or the general refrain has been you have all these teams in the middle and none of them are good. I would point to you at the SEC. That's exactly what that is. The difference is we've assigned numbers to all of them at the beginning of the year so they get to look better because of it.
Wow. So because I wonder what the line of delineation is in your mind of who are the good teams in the SEC and who are the good teams in the Big Ten, and because I would say there are 3 good teams in
I think the Big Ten has played out this year where you have a 3 and then you don't really need to talk about a 4th. I mean, the 4th is undetermined and they don't need a 4th team in the college football playoff. But I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
What I don't want is to just overly reward one conference, which has happened every time.
Except for last year. No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying they only have 3.
We have one result against literally the history of the
again. So that's what I'm saying. Like sins of the past versus sins of the present.
But we're getting to a more even portion of how things are scheduled, and everyone has to at least be under X. Then I'm okay with that.
Kenneth writes. I just will state Kenneth is a Notre Dame fan, just so the cards are on the table here. Says they lost to Florida, so Akron, Ohio State is irrelevant. See, but that's where I disagree, Kenneth. Because if they didn't play Ohio State and they played Akron, they would be 10-2, and we would be saying terrible loss to Florida, but 2 great wins against Oklahoma and Texas A&M, and so that's going to get you in.
On which Notre Dame went in last year of a loss to Northern Illinois.
Correct.
Now they were
11-1
game.
They were 11-1 football
so there's
team.
your big difference.
Yeah.
But
and look, I don't feel good about saying any of these things. I don't want Texas in the playoff. I don't want a 9-3 team getting in, but I also say schedule intent does matter, and I want to see those games. And so if you want to see those games, and maybe I'm just the outlier here, right? Because I'm not viewing it through the Nebraska lens. But if I want to see those games and then they do it and they lose, and then they take care of business elsewhere with 2 top 10 wins, I mean, they will have more top 10 wins, I believe, than anybody.
Which is impressive because they'll have more wins this year than they did last year, where they beat nobody.
That's true.
They didn't win a single game until they beat Arizona State.
That's true. But they went 11-1.
And so that's what makes it difficult when you don't play anywhere near a continuously similar schedule, and you're trying to do this across 8 conferences, but really 3.
2, if anything. Any other
2
things?
and an independent.
Anything in particular you're looking forward to with the standings tonight? I mean, Chalk took care of itself. It's wild how this season went from so topsy-turvy for the first month to everyone has just settled in. We're not really seeing any upsets anymore at the top, of college football. I know Alabama just lost to Oklahoma, but
I think
Oklahoma's defense is good.
You had enough skin the cat moments from bigger SEC teams that avoided those losses. I mean, how many times was Mississippi
Alabama,
State in position to ruin someone's season, or South Carolina?
Alabama played
Kentucky, or
your guy Stoops.
Tennessee had the opportunity against Georgia early on to give them a loss.
They did.
And so that you had all of those things early.
Texas A&M,
and now what
South
you've
Carolina.
kind of seen is those games aren't happening to the same degree now. A&M was just on the ropes against South Carolina.
They were on the ropes.
I laughed really hard because I didn't watch it, but I had a friend send me a transcript of how they were being discussed when they were beating up whoever they played this last week. It's they've righted the ship. And it's the schedule righted that ship. I don't know. We'll find out when they play Texas.
Yes, we most certainly will. I think I'm with you in terms of what we're looking for. The biggest question that I have is, what will the committee do if Lane leaves? And does that matter? And is there a world where Ole Miss loses to Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl this weekend? Because the last time that he was up for a job, I think we talked about this at the end of the yesterday show.
Ole Miss be punished that their coach left?
The committee says that they will take that into account.
Why?
Just because they don't have their guy at the running the ship anymore. They're saying this is a new team now. It's a different version of Ole Miss. It's just like the injury situation with Florida State. It's ridiculous.
The nature of that is so idiotic.
I know.
You like Carson Beck was dead, and you let them be the 2 seed.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Yeah, exactly.
They clearly weren't the number 2 team in the country without Carson Beck. But a year before, Florida State can go undefeated and just left out entirely.
Exactly. It's a dumb sport.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And so that's what we'll be keeping an eye on with the rankings tonight.
Is there really a world where Ole Miss is just left out?
No, I think they're going to get in. I just think that they're going to
have one loss right now, right?
They only have one loss.
Yeah.
So
how would you? Okay, I'm jumping around here, and I don't. How much time do we have?
Let's go to break in the whatever the question is. Make sure we type it so we don't forget about it. So we'll get to that when we return. We're getting close to the end of the show as we continue on this Tuesday. Again, if you missed it earlier, John and I are most likely doing the show tomorrow, and then we are up in the air about what's happening. But we believe Creighton is going to play on Thanksgiving. But that is going to require some results out in Las Vegas. So we will have an update for you at some point later on, late tonight. So all of that to come. We'll come back and wrap up the show when we return here on 1620 The Zone. But Josh Peterson here for Underdog Fantasy. Fast breaks, buzzer beaters, and block parties are back. And however you like to get in on the action, you can do it on Underdog right now in Nebraska. This season, you can make team picks and player picks. Just download the app, sign up, and you'll get $100 in bonus entries when you make your first $5 fantasy entry. Using Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite team will win or if your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like points, rebounds, steals, and more. Plus, with Underdog's quick payouts, you can get your profits fast. So download the app today. Use promo code 1620TheZone to score $100 in bonus entries when you make your first $5 fantasy entry. Player picks, team picks, all on Underdog. Crypto.com predictions powered by Underdog Predict. Trading derivatives involves risk and may not be appropriate for all. For more information, visit nadex.com/rules and underdogfantasy.com/rules. For crypto.com predictions, the term pick refers to a product traded on CDNA. Must be 19 plus and present in Nebraska. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. Josh Peterson, Mike Schaefer, Nick Grimm, as we get ready to wrap up the show, we'll do What's for Dinner in just a few moments. Schaefer mentioned as we went to break, he had a little question, and then he put it in the private chat. So he actually did type it down. Schaefer, what's the prompt? Because it goes back to our...
I want you to rank the SEC teams based on, like, who you think the actual best one is, and then on down. Because I almost wonder if you think the best is Alabama.
I think it's Georgia.
It's Georgia. So you've switched now. And Georgia, who's looked like trash for a good portion of the season.
But they're playing well
trash
now.
in the sense that,
Yes,
like,
compared
they
to...
kept getting wins in, like...
They were pulling wins out of their keisters.
Yeah.
For the early part of the year. But yes, I think putting... Well, first of all, the Mississippi State game, and I know Mississippi State is terrible, but they did not play with their food in that game at all, which was very impressive to me because Mississippi State had kind of been on a little bit of a tear of keeping it close. And then they smoked Texas and just put them in a body bag. And like Charlotte, who cares? But I think Georgia. I'd go Georgia number 1. I think Texas A&M is probably number 2, though their defense gives me pause for concern. I mean, Oklahoma. Well, Ole Miss beat Oklahoma not that long ago, so I'd go Oklahoma number 3, or Ole Miss number 3, Oklahoma number 4, Bama number 5.
Bama's down to 5.
Bama's number.
I felt like you were kind of big on Bama at one
I think
point.
their running game and their run defense. I don't think that they're going to be able to go on.
And you think their
crazy
head
run.
coach is going to be coaching Penn State?
I don't think it's that out of the realm of
I'm not
possibility.
saying it
People
is.
are calling me an idiot for this take.
Their recruiting class, I think, is really, really good.
At Alabama.
Which, shocker.
Yeah,
But
Kalen DeBoer, guy rocks.
It would be interesting if he would punt on that to go somewhere else, because I think they're set up to potentially have a freakishly good offense for a while.
Yeah, probably. I mean, he's an awesome coach. He has Ryan Grubb with him again. So what is that? That's 5
That was
teams?
5, yeah. So you had
and then
Oklahoma 4, Ole Miss 3.
And then I guess Texas Vandy. Well, maybe Texas, Tennessee, Vandy, I guess, would probably be how I'd finish it up there.
I think that's fair. I think Vanderbilt's a cool story.
Very cool story. Who do they beaten though?
That's kind of where I'm at with it.
Nobody. Yeah, they have a lot of wins.
Wins Missouri, with Missouri's quarterback being out. Right?
Yeah, they beat LSU, but LSU stinks. They beat South Carolina when they had a number next to their name, but South Carolina stinks. That said, like, here's where I will, I guess, disagree a little bit, and I hate you making me into the SEC honk of this discussion. But, I mean, winning games does matter, and if it was so easy to beat all the bad teams, then why haven't other teams in the Big Ten do it too, And I know they're playing one extra game in conference, but I don't think that that's why, USC.
I also don't think a lot of these teams actually ended up having to play each other a bunch, right? You got a lot of avoiding this year.
Yes. Well,
I think that's your biggest answer to your question.
Well, and that's
in
why
addition, you have one less game. They didn't play a lot.
Yeah, you hope that starting next year that you're going to have a lot more overlap, because Texas A&M, I believe they played Georgia 1 time since they joined the SEC, which is an insane
Well, yeah,
statistic.
I mean, Texas A&M, you just look at them, and they didn't play any of the other good teams in the SEC.
Yeah, they'll finally see Texas.
Until Texas.
Yeah.
And then I want to say there's one other one like that where, not having that one extra game really does matter.
Yeah, Ole Miss played Georgia and
muddies
Oklahoma.
up that whole picture.
See, Oklahoma is the one who has played a lot of them. Now, LSU fell off, but Oklahoma played
Oklahoma ran. I did not believe
Texas,
in Oklahoma.
Ole Miss, Tennessee, Bama, Missouri.
Didn't believe in them at all.
Same.
And they have proven to me that they deserve the kind of a,
they're a playoff team,
got.
and they should host a playoff game. Their defense is really, really good. I do not think they can win the national championship unless John Mateer turns into early season John Mateer, but there's a part of me that thinks early season John Mateer was because they were playing against bad teams. That said, you know what? Like, a lot of this stuff is the Big Ten hasn't had a whole lot of overlap either, right? Indiana played Penn State. They suck. They played Oregon. Ohio State has played none of the teams except finally
Penn
Michigan.
State not being good is basically Penn State's collapse crushed their ability to replicate this in any meaningful way, because Penn State played all of those teams.
Yeah.
But conversely,
they did.
Penn State played all three of those
It was like
teams.
Ohio State last year. Ohio State played they played Indiana, they played Oregon, they played Ohio State, or they played Penn State rather. And then this year it flipped to Penn State. The problem is, and I know we've talked a lot about Iowa today. I have thought Iowa's been underrated over the most of the last month. I thought the committee actually had it right. I think Washington's been way undervalued all year. I think that they are 8-3. They should be a top 25 team. I think that those kind of bottom end of the top 25 teams, but that's when the list ends for the Big Ten, but you get 2 more in, you'd suddenly have 7 teams in the top 25 at this moment. So I don't know. I still think it's going to be Ohio State that wins the championship. I don't like that, but we talk about them every time we do a show together. There is just like, they're not flawed. They just are not.
They're nowhere near as flying high as they have been in the past.
Yeah.
Because they're almost like this weirdly efficient,
like
boring version of them.
And just like, can they do that when the schedule, like starting this week? So they'll play Michigan, and assuming they win,
Indiana,
then they'll play Indiana, and then they will, let's see, I guess. I think that they will not play in the first round. They will get an off week. So then that would be quarter, semi, championship. So that's potentially 5 straight games of, in theory, better competition every round. Can they make it through it? Of course they can. Somebody has to do that. But would it shock me if Julian Sayin, who has been tremendous this year, finally wasn't completing 80% of his passes and made a couple mistakes? I don't know why that wouldn't shock somebody,
I wouldn't be shocked if Indiana beats them in the Big Ten championship.
I wouldn't either. Now, how much does that matter in the end? That's a weird, it's sucks. Like, we're going to have 12-0, 1 versus 2, and it's going to be cool, but both teams are in and both teams probably get a bye. What do you do with that?
I have someone that is convinced that the winner of that game is who determines who gets the Heisman. And I don't.
It's Mendoza or saying.
Yeah, and
that's disappointing.
I think it's just Mendoza. He's done more. He has more touchdowns. He does more on the ground. He's done more.
Also, you're telling on yourself if you give Julian Sayin the Heisman. He's not the best player on his offense, know. And so, but it's okay, that's. I don't care about the Heisman. And so I'm not going to get hot and bothered if Julian Sayin.
Well, and this is the ultimate year to not care about.
But if that's your vote, it's just okay. So anyone who says that this is a meaningless award, they are absolutely true, or absolutely correct, because he's not the best player. Yeah. He's not the best player on his team. How many players are better than Julian Sayin on the team? At least 2, Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs. So at least 2. And if you want to throw in, a Carnell Tate or something like that, I'd certainly be open to it. Kenneth says, the offense is bad. Ohio State's running game, not as good as it has been the last few years, makes them a little more one-dimensional. And that's the thing. Once they start playing better competition, you figure at some point it's gonna come back to bite them. Maybe, I think it. I don't know. I just said I think they're going to win the national championship, so maybe I don't think it will come back to bite them.
But you think Michigan is going to cover on Saturday?
I absolutely think they could, and I absolutely think.
Or you think Michigan wins and then Ohio State just does the same thing they did last.
That would be a huge bummer. I will take Michigan losing this game if it means Ohio State doesn't win the title. I will absolutely. I'd much rather have that than
offer it up to the football gods.
Please, Lord, please grant me this wish. I don't want to see that crap again. But Michigan beating them for the 5th straight time would be so funny. I would laugh hysterically. I was at the airport last year in Denver, Colorado, laughing hysterically as Ohio State, and then what's his name crying on the field, pepper spray in the ether. God, what a time to be alive. Nelson writes, Nick is absolutely locked in on the TV right now, like my niece watching Bluey. What's going on up there, Nick?
I don't know what this movie is.
Nick hasn't really spoken a lot the last couple of days.
Ohio.
Yeah. Oh, that's
We Are Marshall.
I was gonna say that looks like Matthew McConaughey in that movie. Yeah. I've never seen that movie. Is it any good?
That's definitely not Big 12.
Big 12 uncensored or uncovered. It is We Are Marshall. Just had to start a little bit early.
I haven't had a whole lot to say. You guys have had very good points.
Too sports pilled today for you, Nick?
It's just I don't know as much about the topics as you guys have, so I didn't feel like I could add anything to the conversation.
That's a bummer.
If you want to talk F1.
Nick, I'd love to, but it's time for What's for Dinner.
When you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off.
Crust is good on your pizza, not your ass.
I will eat your ass first.
He's tough as a Woolworth steak.
And then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down. All right. And on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap.
I'm ready to hang them up, gut them and skin them and chop them up. You know what? I'm ready. My daughters aren't starving to death. I'll eat my neighbors.
And we're going to get up, and then it's going to take 3 shots to get us down. And when we do, we're going to take another hunk out of you.
Cliff, what are you going to take away as your best memory from playing basketball at Boston College?
Probably just going out to eat.
Mike Schaefer, What's for Dinner?
It is going to be another night of Thanksgiving leftovers for me.
Oh, yeah. Nick's going to yell at you again about this.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean,
fascinating.
Josh,
I don't know what to tell you. We had a 16-pound turkey. There was turkey left over. I might as well eat the turkey.
Yeah.
So that's effectively what it is. Now I'm trying. Like yesterday, I made a sandwich. Today, I think I'm going to try to do a quesadilla out of it. So does that help? Like that? I know it's leftover turkey, but I'm like trying to do it in a way that it's not just eating just generic turkey.
I don't care how you eat your leftovers.
I'll eat.
You just don't like people talking.
No, I'm fine with leftovers.
Okay.
Interesting.
You just don't like people talking about holiday leftovers?
No, he doesn't like Thanksgiving early or Christmas early.
See, I am someone who doesn't want Thanksgiving after the day of Thanksgiving.
You'd rather
because then it's Black Friday and it's too late.
Ooh, that's a great dumb debates question. We could maybe tackle that tomorrow.
Maybe.
Nick?
We had Casey's Pizza last night. It was delicious. Tonight, I'm not sure. We're going to a show, so I'm not sure.
Like a play?
No, a concert.
A musical act.
Yeah. And so when he said show, why did I think that? A play? Nick would go to a play?
I've gone to plays.
What
Hold on.
year? Yeah,
I've
probably
been
in
to
college for college credit.
I've seen Hamilton.
Did you do that? Did you take that class that all the football
Hamilton's
players
a
took?
musical.
What was that class? History of theater or
What is a musical if not a play, but with
songs?
tune?
What was that?
I mean, it has an entirely different name.
Schaefer, what was that class? Did you take that class in college? What was that class?
Intro to theater?
Yeah, did you take that class?
Or I took the intro to film.
I took that one too.
Winston Wheeler Dixon.
Great class. But there was an intro to theater, and you had to go to 3 plays.
I didn't take intro to theater.
Yeah, I never did that either.
Yeah, bad times.
Took
Huge
the history
class.
of rock and roll instead of it, I'm sure.
I tried to take that.
Overrated class.
At Iowa Western.
History of rock and roll?
Overrated. Everyone's like, take it. It's so much fun. Harder than it should have been.
I tried to take that. I wanted to take that at
Well,
Iowa.
you just want everything to be easy?
History of rock and roll should be a little easy.
I mean, you just had to memorize stuff.
I know.
It's literally just a history class.
Brought in some Velveeta shells and cheese. Yeah, I'm on my own tonight, folks. Shafe, what a wonderful last 2 days.
It's been good.
I hope that you have a great Thanksgiving.
Hey, you too.
Because we're not going to need you tomorrow. Fingers crossed. But we told you you're good. Do whatever you need to
I'm
do.
officially not.
Schaefer has
tomorrow.
texted and said, I will be there.
Yeah.
All right. So it'll be John and I tomorrow. Dumb debates tomorrow. No Mitch Holtis. Crap, we might have to find a guest, Nick, that could slide up to tomorrow. Maybe we have Jack Mitchell on to preview the game.
Oh, that's good.
We'll figure it out. Have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.